It was like a chatter on a radio.
Okay, it does say record. Right.
Here's Judy,
Yep.
yeah.
It's just on my computer. So we're good. We're
Smoke from cooking. Okay.
Welcome back.
No crisis.
What'd you like that?
all of it.
All of
Just out,
All
yeah.
of it. There you go.
Just out.
That's the right answer.
Oh, I know.
She liked being on the Zoom call, with the
The
commission.
Zoom
that
call,
passed.
yeah.
What?
Like being on the Zoom call with this commission.
That's the best.
Oh, that was your
part.
best moment.
Yes.
We were glad to see you at all.
I was, and I was
Look,
like, get on.
that's not the best
We're
place
living
to be.
vicariously through you.
Yeah, I did. I
No,
wonder.
listen, this is a dedicated commission. We had Kathleen from a boat, right? From the super yacht.
We got Steve's gonna be calling in from Egypt.
You're gonna be
Is that where he is?
That's where he will be.
Business, Pleasant?
Actually, we're not, that's
Oh,
right.
you are.
We don't
Oh,
wanna
on
do
that
all
one.
of that.
Okay, I thought you meant.
Yeah, we are being recorded. folks.
Oh, are we?
Yes.
Yeah.
Straightforward.
That's correct, isn't it? Ross, can you just confirm? I see record.
I see recording.
Yep, you're good.
You are
You're good.
confirmed.
Okay,
Thank you.
well then let's get started and good afternoon, everyone, on this very beautiful day, Tuesday, April 14th. We had a bit of a change in our sequence of meetings and I appreciate everybody's cooperation and willingness to make a change. We are today going to have a public hearing that is open to everyone at the public to join us at 5 o'clock. I'm not sure how many people will be joining us, but we're going to start off because we have a lot of work to do for our draft report, which is due to the town council on May the 4th. But before we get started, I'm going to ask Angela to do a roll call.
Thank you. Mr. Case,
Present.
Ms. Corbett,
Here,
Ms. Holm.
she'll be arriving at probably 3:30.
Okay, Ms. Jameson, present. Mr. Kynes,
Present.
Mr. Lampert,
Present.
Mr. Lebris.
Here.
Lebris. Thank you. Ms. Neville,
Here.
Mr. Paolo,
Here.
Mr. Parrott.
He's going to be here late too.
And Miss Willett. Okay.
Okay, great. Okay, thanks, everybody. Let's knock off the minutes that we have. We have quite a few. Angela has shared those and it's up on our website. Let's begin with the minutes. Tell me if I got this right. March 31st?
Yes,
Is that
March
correct?
31st. Yep.
Yes. Okay, any comments or corrections on the March 31st minutes? Hearing none, can I have a motion to approve
So moved.
from Russ and seconded by Joe Paulo? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
That's unanimous. Okay, next minutes are special meeting dated April 1st.
Yes.
Also has been shared and posted. Any comments or corrections? Hearing none, can I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Chris Labrie, second. Joe Paulo, all those in favor say aye. And unanimous. The last ones are for the special meetings of April the 6th. Any comments or corrections? Hearing none, can I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
So move Todd, second.
Second.
Steve, all those in favor? Aye. Thank you.
And thank you. Group one also has the minutes that it could approve. And that is the special meeting of, bear with me just a minute, March 26th. Those were posted. March 26th,
Okay.
group one. So any comments? No? Would
I'll
some,
make a motion.
thank you.
Second.
Thank you. All in favor in group one? Okay, thank you very much.
Okay, great, super. Okay, I want to thank everybody for hopefully having an opportunity to read draft report version 9. I've sent that to everybody. Everybody has a hard copy as well. It's also up on the public packet. I'm going to just walk you through some of the sections. I've gotten some comments from people and we're going to use this session to work through as much as we can because a number of you are going to be traveling in the upcoming weeks. I also, once Bill and Jennifer join us, that's when we're going to get into some specific outstanding votes that need to be done. So we won't do that until they're here. And so we'll go through some of the other materials prior to their visit. We'll go with them when they get here too. Okay, so this report, I brought my own. I know you carry yours kind of like a Bible, but this is what we're kind of mirroring from 10 years ago. It's printed on newsprint. It is 11 by 16, I believe, and then folded in 2 staples. And the reason I tell you that is I've asked for a quote or bid on, what that might cost. This report was, the draft report was produced in April 19th of 2016. The final report, we got our feedback from the town council within, I think it had to be within 45 days of that date. We then approved the final report to the town council. That was July 14th, and the town council approved it on July 20th. The reason I give you those dates is because we're a little behind by a couple weeks anyway, and we don't want to push up too close to the actual election day. So there's a series of dates, and we'll be going through those. That section about the subsequent dates after our report is submitted is outlined in the draft report version 9. So I've asked legal counsel to review it, to make sure I had the dates right and so forth, but it's pretty much set by statute as to how many days you can't go beyond to review. So that'll be shared with the town council, and legal is reviewing that as well.
Question.
Please.
Were there significant changes after the town council reviewed?
10 years ago?
10 years ago.
They had asked that we add to the committee. There's 3. It's on the back page of this. They asked us to, let's see, what did they ask us to do? They asked us to add the Conservation Commission, but the 3 that I see in terms of the Conservation Commission was added. They also asked for various word modifications to the Fire Commission. They also asked us to revise the definition of published, and publication, so that we could, if there were any changes in the general statutes, that it would be adopted here. And those are the only 3. Okay. All right, so let's go through and we're gonna page turn here so I can explain a little bit of what has been provided. Again, no pride of authorship, so welcome anybody's comments, corrections, additions, deletions as we go through it. So the first is just an introduction. Somebody here, I'm forgetting, it might have been Joe, who said, we need a table of contents, and you're so right. And so I thought, this is, while we don't have a table of content.
Everything's good?
Everything's good, thank you, Tucker.
I'm in my office.
Okay, but I thought for the report anyway, a table of contents would be helpful as we go through this. So, and if anybody wants to change the format, let me know. But we have sort of an open letter, which discusses how the draft report is formed. We're under state statutes here, those are named. And then over the course of our meetings and outreach to the public, it occurred to me that there needed a kind of an intro to what the charter is all about. So I went back in history from 1935. Joe and I shared that information, how the charter, the origins of the charter, and how we were organized as a town came from a special act of the general statutes. Those are all referenced here. And then subsequently, when the Home Rule Law passed in the state of Connecticut, that's when the town charter was formed in 1965. So 30 years after the first special act from the general statutes, we formed the town charter. And what you'll note in the original act, a lot of the same provisions, a lot of the same commissions, a lot of the same language actually has survived to the current date under the current town charter. Now, we're gonna bring this up later, but I'll just mention that under the original 1935 Act, there were the there were 3 new commissions that were established: the Board of Public Welfare, the Commission on Public Safety, and the Sewer Commission. The reason I bring the Sewer Commission up is that we don't have a Sewer Commission now. That's going to be something that's part of our discussion. We do have the water, what is it? Water Pollution Control Authority. And that's currently under the Board of Finance. So that's still kind of out there as an open item that we're going to discuss, but I'll just call it to your attention. It's been part of how we've been organized for many, many years. Fast forward to 1965, under the Home Rule Law and the formation of the charter. Again, this is where the town council was first established. We moved from a traditional New England town meeting format of government to a town council, and as did other towns around the same time. Others remained with the, and a number around us remained with the town meeting format. You can take a look there in terms of the what has, there she is, in terms of what has been introduced over the course of time since 1965, with a number of changes in the 70s, 80s, and more recently in 2005, 2016, and today. So all of those are outlined, as you'll see in the first section, up until getting to any questions on that in terms of is that useful, do you think, at sort of putting the history together?
I like it.
Okay.
I'm nerdy that way. I don't know if anybody else will read
I
it.
think we're all wonderful
A little
nerds,
nerdy.
yeah, but I think I just heard so many people, ourselves included, yeah, what is the town charter about? And what does it do? And what does it stand for? How did it evolve, et cetera? And it just
Yeah, I
always
know.
helps to remind people.
I think it
what it's
provides
about.
really useful context, actually, of how town government has evolved and changed and not changed
Right.
over the
Right.
years.
Right.
Very helpful.
Okay, well, again, your edits, comments, welcome. Okay, then we move to the actual commission structure. I had to really double count this, and somebody please double check me on here on the number of meetings we've held. But on pages 5 and 6, in terms of I think we're up to, in total, including the group meetings, over 54 meetings that we had. That's a lot, given the time frame that we had. So my thanks to each and every one of you who participated in those group meetings and in the full commission meetings, because I think that we were able to cover quite a bit.
Kathleen, just on
yes.
page 6, there's just a typo, under group 3.
Yes.
It says 3/4, it's supposed to be 3/4 in miniature print.
Ah, yeah, that should say, yeah.
It was
That's an
marked-
auto correct
Yeah.
feature.
Microsoft.
Yeah, March 4th. Thank you very much. Okay, so, and I think this lays out for the public and obviously the town council, this is what we've done. These are the meetings that we held. These are the groups. This is the topics they covered. We did themes, we did articles, and so everything is covered here. Okay, and again, any corrections, send those to me. Okay, and then this is more of a narrative on page 7. Again, I had sort of the data before, then the narrative of what the process was and so forth. Again, a lot of that wording may have come from 10 years ago, where we adopted kind of the same practice, but I modernized it a bit. So take a look at that if you have any changes. The next section, which is the voting results on charter revisions and themes, rather than producing yet a version 10, which is coming, I just gave you a sheet of paper, which is an insert, and we'll share that with the public as we share the report too. But I was kind of amazed at, when you put it all together, just how many votes we had, not including voting on minutes and adjournment and so forth. So these are just great sort of a collection of the dates, what the vote was, and what the results were. So we've got a bunch more that I'd like to cover as much as we can in the next hour and a half before we open this up to the public hearing. And we'll use this, and I have the document. I can start editing it, or we can just write it by hand and can enter it in later this evening. So that's the section 5. Oh, before I get there, section 4 I'm kindly asking, there you go, I got tons of copies, just after you go.
Sorry, I.
That's okay.
Everybody need anything that's?
Nope.
Okay.
I don't mind you.
Under section 4, and including the appendix, we have some great data on the public survey. We have the list of everybody who's attended our meetings. And we're going to put, much the same way we did a decade ago, a list of all the people who participated. And that is on the previous document, I believe, yes. It was 3 pages of individuals and groups providing input to the study group teams and the full commission. And we're going to replicate that, obviously, with the new names and the participants in the survey and attendance and even emails that were sent to us. So I would ask Jennifer and Kieran if you'd be kind enough to, just as you can collect and have all of those, and maybe even look through the minutes of the names that are listed for those who attended the meetings. That'd be great. And we can put that
Meetings
in.
for the groups as well?
I beg your pardon?
The
Yeah,
meetings for the
for
groups as
sure.
well?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, absolutely. Everyone who participated. Okay,
So the people who, where's the people who came to the last 2 public hearings? That is on what list?
that's all in our minutes.
That's just in the minutes. It's not in a separate.
We
okay.
haven't put, we want
All
to
right,
put that all
I
together.
wasn't sure if
Yeah.
we were. We probably should. Yeah.
No, we're definitely
All
putting
right.
it all together. It'll be an
All right.
appendix, but we'll have a little description of what the survey entailed and how how folks participated and shared their comments. And that'll go under
That'll be a
section 4.
separate list, right? The people who
Yeah.
came in person versus those who responded.
No, we just listed everybody
Oh,
last time.
everybody.
Yeah.
doesn't make a
Anybody who
difference how you
participated,
came in?
no matter what form they did it
Yeah,
in.
okay.
Unless you want to separate them out.
I think the vocal people should be listed separately.
The vocal.
Those that came in public.
Attendees.
Don't you
Okay.
think? Just.
You know, I just
Nah.
don't think it matters. I think it's, it's fine to participate by Zoom. I don't know that it needs to be.
No, not
And
Zoom.
not-
survey.
No.
Does
The
the
survey
survey,
versus the public hearing in person.
Oh,
And
sorry.
emails.
No, I wouldn't do that either. No.
We've had a lot of, I don't want to do just the public hearing. I want to do
No.
every meeting. Every meeting,
Yeah.
however people participated, Zoom.
Or those that came before the
in-person.
meeting and then those that participated. in the
Anybody who
meeting.
showed
Yeah.
interest.
I personally think it's a good idea to separate the survey people from.
That's
Yeah,
fine.
I do too.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
right. Well, that's easy to do, right?
I mean, I think there's some overlap there, but
Oh, for sure.
just somebody
Yeah.
who
there
listed
will be.
twice.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
Well, that's all right. You can be listed twice. You can be listed as having come in person and as having filled out your
Yeah.
form.
Yeah.
Well, that's
Absolutely.
legit.
Okay. Let me know if I can help on that, if you want me to go through any of that. I have, and so.
the 3 groups is that what you're asking?
Well, if you can be helpful to Jennifer and Kieran and just say, look, these are all the people who came to our group meetings, that would help them from pouring through all the.
That'd be great.
uh,
If you do
minutes.
that, I'll do the.
They're in the
group.
minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
And then
it'd be a
distill it
very
from the
easy
minutes.
thing.
So
to
if each,
just go
each
through
of the
minutes.
groups can just
Just
share.
Just put a
Yeah.
list.
Yeah, that'd be
We'll put
great.
together a list.
Okay,
Okay, so group 1, group 3, you have it,
Mhm.
and Jen, you have your group 2. Group 2, okay. And then you also have the names of everybody who participated. You publish that all the time.
Yeah,
right?
that's easy.
So that's easy.
That's all done.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right, great.
I think it's good.
Okay, so that'll be
Good
added.
input.
We just went through the voting results. We'll have more to add there. Hang up the phone there. Okay, so the next section, and I took some literary license with this, and so let's fire away, but just keeping track of, and this is for discussion, but in the report to the town council, we will summarize any and all of our recommendations for what would be potentially on the ballot. It's their decision whether or not they reject any of these or not, the town council, but these would be kind of the formation of our recommendations. God bless you. So the first one is something that we just voted on last week, which is on term limits. So and again, just see the language there.
What
It
page are
can
you
be
on?
modified.
Are you
Sorry, on
on
page
10?
9.
9:10, yeah.
Charter revision recommendations and potential referendum.
Oh, okay.
The second one is also something we voted on. The many things that we did vote on that require change. If there is any minor change, for instance, in the charter that doesn't require a major change, it would be down under number 4 to amend the town charter charter to reflect technical and conforming changes, et cetera, et cetera. We'll go through those more carefully to decide whether or not there needs to be a separate item here, but for the most part, the kitchen sink, as I like to call it, would fall under number 4. Okay. I
have a question.
Yeah.
Number 3.
Yeah, I
did we
haven't gotten there
discuss-
yet, but yeah,
okay.
yeah, no, but go ahead, jump right in.
Did we discuss?
No.
Okay.
No. So, on number 3, was something that we did discuss. It came up very early on. It was actually 10 years ago.
Mhm.
This went as a ballot item to ask, gee, is the Board of Finance, is that required? No other board or commission requires the members to be taxpayers. That actually exists since 1935. So that you're both electors and taxpayers. Everybody, our commission 10 years ago thought, oh, sure, this is going to be, yeah, people could be renters, they could live anywhere. They can have a home for 30 years, sell it, and move into a rental in town, and now they wouldn't be qualified on the Board of Finance. Yes, Russ?
A dumb question.
No
But I
no
would love
questions.
to say-
Never dumb.
No.
Taxpayer also includes any property
Oh,
such as a car.
So Judy raised that 10 years ago. I remember that.
Yeah.
it's homeowner.
Okay,
It
so
is
that's
homeowner.
specifically defined somewhere.
is.
Yeah, it's called real property.
Real
So
property.
in here, it uses the
although my
term.
client
is real.
says real estate.
But I
Not
know,
under
no,
the law.
I know, real
But does
estate,
it
yeah.
define that in the document,
Yeah,
or is that at statutory level?
It says it's real property somewhere, but it's,
But I'm
that's
sure
what it-
that
yeah.
loop was closed if it does.
Yeah, yeah.
Just curious, real property, what if you own a co-op?
That's still, that's fine. You pay
Co-op
taxes.
counts.
Anything you pay taxes on,
Okay.
not your
But
automobile.
you
Now,
pay
you could
tax-
own a commercial real estate property and live in an apartment and
Oh,
still be
yeah,
eligible.
Yes.
Yes.
Real estate
Okay.
property. Yes, yes. Yes, go ahead.
I just wanted a different numbers here, so we can.
Okay, so the question came up, should this be revisited? I have my own opinion on that. I don't think it should, but because someone raised it, I put it in
Well,
there.
who raised,
Angela?
Oh, you raised
Yeah.
Because-
10
Go
years,
ahead.
10 years is a long, long time ago. And the town and its residents have really turned over. So I think it's worth putting it to the electorate again. I do think it's discriminatory to say that you can't be on the Board of Finance unless you own a home or a commercial property in town. And the fact of the matter is, the property taxes are factored into the rent you pay if you are a renter. And I believe that renters have skin in the game. I don't know how many people would come forward and want to be on Board of Finance who rent their homes, but there was somebody that had to leave the
That's right.
finance because he was renting.
Because he had sold his house of 30 years.
Yes.
My issue is not with that. My issue is if you have sold a house and you are looking to downsize and you are in flux for 3 or 4 or 6 months, where are you in this? That was my issue at the time, not so much that you shouldn't be or need to be a taxpayer. I agree with that.
I'll tell you one thing, we see a
So-
lot at our office right now where people are selling because the market is high.
Absolutely.
They're not going anywhere for the next 3, 4, 5 years. They've just made an election to financially cash out on what they've earned. But they're not going anywhere and they've been here for 20 years. Lots of clients like that right now.
So then they're doing what? They're looking or
No, they're gonna
leasing or
rent for the next
renting?
5 years.
Just.
Joe?
We are likely to be on the verge over the next few years of having hundreds of renters
Possible.
coming into the town with all of the affordable housing and types of complexes that are being built. And that introduces an entire new voting block as a chunk in a very short period of time.
Mhm.
And I would suggest that we want to be a little stingy on this point rather than a little wide-minded, because with that many renters coming in, it could tip things that, those of us that own property where there could be significant differences. I think it's a major change having hundreds. If it was a few, it wouldn't be a big deal.
So you want to be stingy in what way? I'm sorry.
You want to keep it.
Keep it the way it is.
Yeah, I would say keep it the way it is
Keep
too.
it-
Yeah.
keep it-
Because I
only-
think if you own real property, you've actually made an investment in the community
I agree.
to the point where you're also, Chris and others are contributing towards setting financial goals and tax rates and other things that are really critical. And having that sort of, how would you say, skin in the game, for lack of a better word, I think is important to be on that one board.
The grand list is about $8.7 billion and allowing a large group of people that are not invested in that to have potentially decision-making power. I would vote against that.
Yeah.
So let me just also raise them, just, so this being the only one, are you not suggesting we put that to the same method for other boards and commissions? Or only the Board of Finance? This
Well,
is the only one
I'm
that exists.
addressing what you actually put
Yeah,
here now.
right, yeah.
I'm
But
happy to
anyway, it's a,
respond to
thought-
that.
it's a
It's
thought.
another
It's
conversation.
another
It's a good one. I
Yeah.
think we should have it.
Yeah, I think there's gonna be a shift and we don't know how that shift's gonna go.
So right now, if you do nothing,
Nothing changes.
nothing
Nothing
changes.
changes.
So why is this even in here?
So again, just taking last 10 years ago report came up for somebody. It says draft for CRC discussion. That's what we're having right now. And so that's the question. Is that something that you want to discuss further? Do you want to take a vote on it? I'll tell you why I am not against renters. I have no problem if renters come in. I'd have perfectly fine if they want to participate. I used to be a renter for 10 years in New York City. It doesn't stop one's interest in wanting to serve, whether you rent or own, in my opinion. However, I don't think it's necessary to bring it up 10 years later because it was voted down
Yeah.
like 2/3. Like, no way, nobody wants it. hold on a second.
Yeah.
Just, I would say, gosh, I
Was it a
don't know
big-
that mine, it was big.
What was the number? Do you?
It was,
Like a
it was
lot?
about 68%.
Wow,
something like
then
that.
it's
Yeah.
not worth.
It was,
No.
hold on a second. And so I just feel that people may have changed in terms of the contents of, or the demographics. I don't think people's ideas have changed very much. And again, when I voted, I thought, oh, sure, absolutely. I want it to be the same as the Board of Selectmen and Town Council and so forth, where this requirement doesn't exist. It's a holdover. It's a holdover since 1935, and all the opportunities to change this have taken place over 10 different times. And the only time it's been put before the voters was 10 years ago, and they unequivocally said, no, let's leave it the same. So and for that reason, I don't think that it's necessary to put it on the ballot. So that's just my opinion. Now,
Agree.
Angela.
So, I remember 10 years ago, I don't think either the RTC or the DTC really got behind this proposition in terms of it being aired during the election process. Personally, I wish that they had. But I think were they to do so this time round, the outcome could be different. I do question whether this kind of discrimination would hold up in a court of law. And I think it is the right thing to do, to be inclusive of everyone who has a stake in town. And I do not accept that folks that rent their homes as opposed to owning them via a mortgage or via an LLC, for example, don't have a stake and can't make a very responsible and useful contribution to town government.
Okay, so let's go around. Jennifer, you
Are we
want
voting?
to comment? Yeah, why not? Let's
Oh,
try
well,
to-
should we wait for Bill?
Chris-
You're right. We did say.
We need to
No,
wait for Bill.
Yeah,
Not for
Chris
the
wants
vote, not
But
for the
Chris has his
discussion.
hand up.
Yeah.
Chris.
So it's true that the renters do pay tax in their in their rent, but it's a derivative interest that they have. They don't really know what portion of their rent is the result of taxation. Every single year when we modulate the mill rate, that doesn't necessarily get transmitted to the renter right away. I mean, it depends on their lease, depends on what the landlord wants to do. So they don't really feel it. And so as a result, I don't think they're in a position to to assess really the impact of the tax. Whereas if you are a real property owner, every year you see that tax
You
bill
get the
change,
statement, yeah.
up or down, well, it never goes down, but
But to your
how
point,
much it goes
you're
up.
you're putting your money into a community and taking risk.
Right.
That's what you're doing. And it may go up, it may go down, as we saw in what was the crash,
Sure.
your real estate property went down
Yeah.
and many people couldn't sell. In fact, across the street was on the market for me for 12 years. So that's a different sort of ownership or a participation in a community, which is slightly different than a renter.
So just to finish my thought, but I think Jennifer's point is well taken, we should vote on this just for good order's sake,
We will, yeah,
But
well,
my
when we
vote
have
would be
others, yeah.
not to send it up as a
Right.
change, just leave it, no change.
Well, then you
Well, then
wouldn't.
it comes out. of
It
this
comes
It
package.
has to
out,
come out of this.
Yeah, it will.
Okay.
Yeah, when we go through the vote process. Does anybody else want to add? We'll wait until Bill comes to vote. Does anyone want to add anything, Todd?
Yeah, no, I agree with Angela. You know, I see it every day in my office. I can't distinguish a renter not having the same vested interest, even sometimes more interest in our town. They sit on community foundations, they are creative, they have kids going to our schools, they use our libraries, they go to our restaurants, they're vested here.
Mhm.
And a lot of my clients choose not to own. Doesn't mean they're not vested. So for me, I heard what you said, Kathleen, it's gonna probably get knocked down. I'm sort of on Angela's board right now. I'd like to see it included again. I think things may have changed, but
Sure.
But Todd, I have a question. Do you think that the renters would pay as much attention to the Board of Finance budget, the Board of Education budget? I mean, they're sending their kids, they're renting here, they're sending the kids to school. They don't see the impact of that. For them, it's a free service.
I honestly do.
For them, it's a free service. The taxpayer knows and says, 70% of my tax bill is due to the Board of Ed.
Yeah, I think, look, I have a lot of clients that live in California that have houses here and they rent them. They don't pay one bit of interest to it. They just care what their revenue is. And then I have renters that have been here for 15 years as clients that I think have more of a vested interest than the guy in California who's got a couple of rental homes only for how much money can go in his pocket. So I just have a hard time distinguishing the two. I do hear what you're saying.
But the
I don't know,
renters could be on any of the other commissions in town. They
Yeah.
can even run for town council.
Yeah.
And they can run for first select.
See,
But
I'm
on the Board of
wondering.
Finance,
Then
when
maybe
it
we
comes to
should
setting the
expand.
tax rate, sorry, you've got to have,
I do understand your
you got to
position.
be able to fish in the pond and,
I'm gonna be on Angela's side on this
No,
one.
that's fine. That's fine, Steve.
I think I would come down on the point that I have trouble that just the Board of Finance is singled out.
Me too.
Yeah.
If it was across the board for selectmen, Board
At
of
least
Finance,
elected
Town council.
commissions, yeah.
a couple of electives, but
I think it should be all of them. I mean, I really do.
I mean, I would be in
What?
favor of
It should
that,
be
but
Board
I'm
of
not in
Selectmen,
favor
Town
of
council,
just
Have to have
singling
all
out the
equity?
town council.
the ones.
Or the-
three
I don't know
major
about that.
past budget.
There's no need for them to.
Russ.
So I'm undecided on this, but
Yeah.
I'll throw myself as an example. I was a renter until, within the last, I don't know, when I bought my house, and I served as a volunteer firefighter. I
Yeah.
did budget presentations to all
Yeah.
these organizations. I was active in the community. So there are people who are like that. I don't know if there's a ton, but there are there.
You could be a renter and run for town treasurer.
Yeah.
You know,
That's where it bothers me a little.
And
bit.
you could run for town
Inconsistency
council and
bothers
have a say on the budget.
But renters pay high rents here
Very.
because we have such excellent schools. Often they choose to live in this town as
Yeah, a lot of them
renters
come and
because of the schools. So they know very well that that is a huge expense for everyone who lives in town, whether you own property or whether you are paying rent to somebody else. It's a cost that is borne, and everybody is delighted that we have such excellent schools.
Yeah, but there's a lot of people that come here purely for the school. And they're in when the kids are little and they're out when the kids graduate. And they've been renters the whole time. And they've
And people that
gotten,
own do the same thing too.
they've gotten a
That's my
pretty
office. The
darn
last kid
good,
turns 18,
they've gotten a
their
pretty
house is
darn,
for sale
Yeah.
in March.
But
yeah,
that's.
but at least
that's
during
right.
those
Okay.
years,
Okay.
at least
Okay.
during those years, they were writing a check every year.
But with
Okay,
a-
Joe.
With a large quantity of affordable housing coming in,
Mhm.
the idea that they're paying large rents goes out the window. That's invalid. They'll be paying affordable housing market rates, which are.
Well, that's an
supposed to be
assumption that
reasonable.
there's a large amount of affordable housing coming in. You may, it's a
Yeah.
big
But
jump.
it's 10 years. The charter review is 10
Wow.
years, so maybe you could add
I think
a
there is a
bit
large-
more in
That's
there.
what you think, but that's a big jump. It hasn't happened yet.
No, it hasn't.
Yeah.
It hasn't happened yet. That's true.
Thank
Okay,
God.
let's move on, from that topic.
So on number
Uh,
3, we'll table this for a vote till,
When Bill
comes?
gets here.
Okay.
Yep, absolutely.
Well, I
Okay,
had something on number one.
I beg your pardon?
I had something on number one. I
Yes.
apologize. My recollection wasn't, and maybe I'm wrong, wasn't 4 terms, but no more than 12 years, except if you're in the middle of a term.
Yes, it should be 12 years, excuse me,
Except
yeah.
if you're in the middle of a
Yeah.
term, you get to finish the term.
Yep.
That is
Yep,
correct.
12 years.
Right, so I think we use, that's where I was gonna go to. We
Yeah.
had 12 years.
Yeah,
But if you're in the middle of a term, you get to finish the
12
term.
12 consecutive years.
That's correct. Yes.
Have to add that in. And then,
You could come.
and then your
forward.
expiration is when your term
Ends,
ends.
that's right. So if
Yes.
you're in the middle of a term, it may go more than 12 years.
Correct.
That's what I thought. Good.
And there's, how long, the hiatus was 1 term for whatever board that is.
Right.
Yes.
Not 1 year, correct.
Not 1
term.
year, 1
One
term.
term.
That's correct.
Yeah.
And is it it's the full term or the alternate term?
I think we got into that.
We
meaning
never got
what?
into that.
Well,
So is it
alternate
3
term is
years
2
or 2
the
years?
Full term is 4 on board.
Oh, you mean
finance,
for,
that's
oh,
it.
no, this
Oh.
wasn't alternates. This was,
So how long would you
well,
think?
we hadn't discussed that to that
How long do you
extent.
think okay, you've run the end of 12 years, you happen to coincide with the renewal, so you don't have the overlap, you leave it 12 years.
Did we?
When can you come back?
did
In
we vote on
another
that?
term.
When you can come back?
What is that?
Did we?
No, we
Four
didn't.
years.
It wasn't part of-
Isn't that everybody's understanding, or did we need to talk about that?
Well,
It would be
that was my
another 4
understanding, but I
years,
just
yeah.
want to clear the
Mine
air.
too, but I'm not sure if everybody's,
I
Whatever
heard.
We're
term
okay.
was,
It was
Oh.
determined, we didn't talk about alternates.
Okay, so
It
it was a full term,
A
It was
full
all-
regular member term.
regular member term, all right.
That's the term,
I think so,
that's the
too.
term that's
Yeah.
used.
Yeah.
And, then it would come back.
All right,
all right, are we clear then? Okay.
We are clear.
All right, good point. No, good catch.
Yeah, so on this second separate sheet that I have, which is just listing all of the votes here, the last one for April 6th, to impose a term limit of 12, it should be
Consecutive.
consecutive.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, years for all appointed boards and commissions. And,
Impose a 1-term.
well, we'd have to vote on that.
Vote
But I thought we did.
on
We
which?
did.
That's what I
We
don't,
did.
I don't think.
No, we
did.
didn't vote on that. We did talk about it,
Yeah,
but we didn't actually.
it's a big
have
thing.
have
I
a
think,
vote.
whether
Um,
you,
You
whether
want to, that you do or do not want to include alternate years? Is this what we're back to, or?
no, it's whether they can, the way it's written now, they can't come back. Like, once you've done
Well,
12
it
years.
doesn't-
no,
No, it doesn't say
Yeah.
anything. It doesn't say
After a
anything.
term.
Yeah,
After a
Well,
term, they can come back.
yeah.
it doesn't say that.
It doesn't say
That
that.
wasn't part of.
But I think it's implied.
I think that's
It's-
I read
Well, I
this,
think we
and I
should
was like,
write
oh.
in, and I
You
think that
think?
should be a vote, and because the choice would be come back after 3 years or come back after 1 year, which is.
Or come back after 5 years, because there is some boards. that are
Housing
5
authority is.
Housing
five,
authority
yeah.
is 5 years.
But I mean, 5 years. I
Or
mean,
come back after 2,
Which one is
because that's
5 years?
the alternate term.
Housing authority.
Ah, okay.
No, I would say regular term, and that would include the alternate as well. Regular term on whatever commission you're talking about.
That makes sense.
Regular, isn't
Makes sense
that,
to me too.
isn't that good enough? or-
I think so.
Now, the regular member is different from the alternate.
But a regular term is also not an alternate term.
That's
So-
correct. It's a
So I
regular-
don't know if you
regular
need to
member
say,
term.
Okay.
yeah.
So maybe also we should add to what we have here to impose a term limit of 12 concurrent years for all appointed boards and
Consecutive.
commissions.
Consecutive.
Consecutive, yep. We should add, perhaps in parentheses, expiration occurs when the term ends.
No,
You had it
no.
right. You said it right
No.
earlier.
The term, when your term expires is when you basically are no longer on that board. Yeah.
So if your term.
You will serve out your
You'll serve
entire.
out your term, yeah.
You'll
So if you're
serve
at-
out your
if you're at
term.
12
You hit
years,
12
you
years,
just
but you have
got
2 years left
reappointed.
on your
You
term. You
finish
fill out
four
your.
years.
Well,
Right, and that's
When you-
Is that
especially
what you
important.
mean?
Yeah, when you add up the combination, for instance, you add up the combinations of alternate appointments. So you have a couple of those, so they're different lengths, and then you get a regular appointment. And in the case of Board of Finance, doesn't quite work, but in some, it's 2 and 3.
Mhm.
So
That's
you
right.
could get a combination where you get reappointed as a
Full.
as a
Full,
full
regular member.
in your ninth, let's say in your 10th year. So that term goes to year 13.
Right, oh, I'll give you a great example. So,
Should we exclude alternate year? I'm sorry.
sorry.
No,
So,
because
so
they're
in
all-
some
you've been
of,
on
so
the
in
thing.
the data that I saw that was
Oh,
available at Town Hall, which by the way is being updated, there's a big project to do that. There's someone, I think, Dan Stepanak on wetlands, whose term actually ends next year.
Mhm.
So he would come off next year, but he will have served some 20 years.
Yeah, a long time.
But that's fine because his term expires when his term expiration, his term expires, that's when he comes off.
This is his second commission, as I recall.
I have to tell you,
Yeah.
I saw that
Yeah,
report
this
that
is
you
different,
kindly
yeah.
prepared for us. I thank you for it. It was shocking to me. I have to say, I was shocked.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And members sitting around the table are going to be, see ya. And I just was struck by the fact that here we have 130, if I did my counting, volunteers in this town. And quite a few are going to be in the next, however many, 3 years, maybe it was.
5 it was.
5, will be by this vote and that they'll no longer be here. And these are wonderful people. These are really important contributors and volunteers to our town. And to me, and again, I know I voted and my vote didn't carry. So, but I don't know that people have really saw the impact that this proposal on the ballot would mean to a good proportion of the 130 volunteers we have in this town. I was shocked by that. So anyway, go ahead, Steve.
I was just gonna say, I don't think it means they're gone. I
No,
just
I
think
don't
it
either.
means that they switched to a
If you're
different
on
chair.
the Board of Finance and you hit your 12 years, you do not come back for 4 years.
For the Board of Finance, but you
Yeah.
could switch to another commission.
But you're affordable
It's not that
housing.
easy, Steve. I'd like to tell you it is.
She's
It's
done
not.
that, and I
It's
have
not.
too. And it depends too. And when you reach that peak, you're probably in your late 60s, 70s. You may not have wanted to do another term either. I mean, that's
Or that's
The
when you
way
get
I-
fired up.
But that's the way I look at it, is we should be grateful that we've had their service as long as we've had the ones that are just so.
Can I
Incredible.
also?
No, I got it.
Oh,
No,
sorry.
I'm going in order here, Russ,
Yeah.
and then Todd, then Angela.
And thank you for your work, but also use some caution. I did go down to the town clerks. There still remains some
Yeah, I saw.
problems with it. For example, using Sven England.
Yeah.
But he's one, it's not a continuous years of service.
Right.
And so
Right.
it is, there are people, and the 3 I spot checked had problems.
Yeah.
So that's what was presented is not necessarily all of the names that would be going off at the end of their
That
term.
was just 3.
For one, for
There was a
one
lot
break,
more.
for one break.
Yeah,
That
one
and-
break. That's
And
a
people do
lifetime.
go back on and they do switch. And some of those that I captured, the number of different commissions.
Okay, hold on.
Yeah,
Todd.
Several.
Todd, and
just
then
I wanted
Angela.
to echo your sentiments, because I actually went back over, I thought it was gonna be 2 or 3 people,
No,
and it's just not. So for whatever it's worth, I'm echoing yours that I think we're gonna lose a lot of talent here, and I
Yeah.
Well,
think.
it's only 2 people in 1 year.
it's not.
Just, I
For the
understand,
first year,
I'm just
so-
making my position.
Yeah.
I think it's gonna be detrimental to our town. It's
I
my
do too.
opinion.
And I would just want to add a point that I was a little reticent to make in earlier discussion, and perhaps I should have. But the people who have chosen to remain on, say, Board of Finance, P&Z, whatever, for many, many years, those are the folks who put in a lot of time to make sure that they're always up to speed when they come to a meeting. Their attendance is good, because if they didn't have that kind of commitment, they would have said years ago, I'm done. And plenty of the folks that are newer to boards and commissions are very committed too. But I think if you were to actually look at the attendance for boards and commissions, it isn't that great. A lot of members miss meetings, life gets in the way. But a lot of the folks that have been on for a long time, they have good attendance records and they really do their homework before the meetings.
I'll just maybe end and we'll move on. But this would be imposed on people who are appointed, not elected. And so we're going to have a dichotomy of people who have run for election, in many cases unopposed, who far exceed those 12 years. And that doesn't change. And then they remain and so forth because they choose to, and they're doing a good job and so forth. And those same other people that are also volunteering for our town, not paid, aren't choosing to voluntarily leave because they're they're productive members of our community. And this is imposing something that's not imposed on any of our elected professionals.
You
So
could make more positions elected, as I said, that would.
you can.
But if I may.
We're gonna keep everybody forever because they just keep running.
Just keep running.
Or you
But-
could,
but I-
or you could do the
Yeah,
same.
spend
for
money
elected
running for
positions.
We did
That's
place a
another
value
discussion.
in
Yeah.
our earlier discussions on the fact that there are many new people coming
Mhm.
into town.
Yeah.
And refreshing the pool.
Yeah.
And when you stop and think about 12 years, you could go to college and become a brain surgeon in 12 years. That's a very long period of time, 12 years. It's longer than one cycle of the charter. So it is a very, large number.
I'm on a corporate board for 18 years.
18 years.
And,
22,
huh?
22 for
Yeah.
me, yeah.
22 for you. And
Harvard Business.
they haven't voted me off the island yet.
Me neither.
The Harvard Business Review, I provided the data, shows that the time for CEOs and chairmen is dropping.
Yeah. Do you know why, Joe? You know how long it takes to work? You work 18-hour days as a CEO. You're not doing that as working on the town council, board of finance and so forth. The time that you have to do as CEO is much shorter than the commitment
It's
you
just a
give as a
reference.
volunteer.
It's
Yeah,
just
but
a
it's not
Okay,
apples,
yeah,
it's apples
well,
and, figs.
So I have a
but, yeah.
question, on these number here, were there other ones going to be added
So-
based upon the votes?
So the only ones, and again, I just was using the reference from our previous, and this is whenever we go through a vote, if something is going to change, it's going to be in that section. So we haven't had any votes other than the term limits and other things that we might come across as we go through this process that would require a ballot initiative. And if so, it'll be in this summary.
Okay,
Who
so,
determines that?
We do.
We make that what if the town council disagrees?
If they say, no, we don't want that on the ballot, they can reject it.
It doesn't come back to us.
Oh,
for
yeah, no,
discussion.
it'll come back.
That was what I thought.
Yeah, they can
your-
come back, and they can
your
reject, but
statute. Yeah.
ultimately, no.
Okay.
Read
I
what
did. I
sent
read
you
it
in the
twice.
legal-
It wasn't quite
From the
clear.
legal
Yeah.
reference, but if it's the town council ultimately decides if they're not going to put something forward on the ballot.
I get that.
Yeah.
But it wasn't clear whether.
That's
we-
pretty clear. Yep.
That part's
Yeah.
clear, but do we have a chance to rediscuss with them? That's the part that I thought was.
To
missing.
rediscuss with
In
them?
other words, does it come back here for discussion? If
Yeah, we
that's-
can put it in the final report, but still
Okay,
ultimately, what goes
ultimately, I
on the
got
ballot.
that. Yeah, I
They
got
do
that.
that. We can put that in the
Okay.
final report. Let's go to any other comments? Let's move on. Okay, so let's go to the timeline. Now, this section 7 is the timeline post the draft report. This is really meant to be guidance for the town council. I've asked legal to review it. It's a format that the only thing where I made the changes to is I took from the statutory requirements and counted 45 days from each point. So every time there's a certain amount of days, 15 days, 45, et cetera, I took the calendar and counted them. Now, please go ahead and double check them. I think I got it right, but I could have gotten it wrong. One of the challenges I found is if the town council went all the way to the absolute last day on each and every one of these steps, starts pushing us into September, maybe even October. And that doesn't give us ample time, or it gives the town council ample time if there was going to be a ballot amendment to work on that. And 10 years ago, we worked on that in August. So I just want you to be mindful of these, and the town council be mindful of what these dates will be. And so those are laid out in section 7. I encourage you to read that. I've asked legal to review that. So that's what section 7 is.
I believe the town council will now have to meet in August. Is that what you're implying there?
Well, it depends on what dates they decide to go as long. So we submit the report, say by, if not earlier, May the 4th.
Yeah.
Then there is 45 days that they have to hold at least one public hearing. So if
Could do
they,
it sooner.
if they could do it sooner, if they take it
Yeah.
all the way to the end of those 45 days, that would be Thursday, June 18th. And remember, those 45 days include weekends and holidays. So that would be the last possible day that they could have their hearing. And then they have 15 days after that hearing, and that takes you to Friday, July 3rd. Ooh, yeah. This was when I started laying this out. I'm like, oh, that's not good. And you got holidays in there as well.
Could they schedule their hearing now, their public hearing, before we even submit the report and just
They
get
could.
it, get it on the
Yeah,
calendar?
we've got members of the town
believe-
council with us now, but yeah.
I
Well-
believe after we give them the report, they don't meet for another, I think they're the third Wednesday
As scheduled.
as scheduled, so they could,
Yeah.
or they could have a special meeting. So that, I think, brings them clearly into, I think it was May 20th that would happen by looked.
That, the next time that they could have a board meeting.
Next time their meeting is May 20th, from our May
Regular
4th to their
Yeah,
May
I
20th.
think it would be a bit unfair to town council to force them to have to set a date for the public meeting.
Well, it's just a hearing, right? It's
A
just when they're
hearing.
listening to people.
They
Because
might
they haven't
want
even
to.
read this,
It's
and we're
hard
not
to
even
tell,
finished with
yeah.
it. So,
Well, we're going to
I-
be done by May the 4th.
yeah,
We'll have-
I think that they could have a special meeting for the sole purpose of having a public hearing. And I'm sure they can accommodate that.
Or they can add it to their May 20th.
Or they can have a great big meeting on May 12th.
May 20th. Yeah.
Yeah, that's their decision.
Yeah.
But anyway, these lay out
Because
45
their next
days to
meeting-
15, then it
their
comes
next
back to
meeting would be
us.
June 17th.
Again, I'm sure they'll have, they'll go
That-
through the
that would be-
process. Go ahead.
Between when we submit the report and they come back to us,
Yeah.
is there any presentation to them, dialogue with them?
Oh,
or is it just-
absolutely.
Is it just a,
No, absolutely.
There is-
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Yeah. So we'll send this on May the 4th. We'll ask for an invitation to come and present.
On May the 14th?
I beg your pardon?
On May the 14th?
On whatever day
Okay.
they invite us to do. So yeah, they'll have the ability to have the
Okay.
report, and then they'll invite us just to speak, I hope. Yeah. So,
May 14th is their scheduled meeting,
No,
right?
May 20th would be their
May
schedule.
20th is the scheduled?
Yep, that's the third Wednesday.
so
in
we'll
May.
let them figure out their dates. It's not ours. Yeah.
That's right.
Okay. All right. But it's there just as a handy reference.
Oh, they
Okay.
could change the date, yeah.
Okay, now, section 8, appointment process. And here's where we've discussed this at our last meeting, and we're working on, again, this is not going to, it may or may not be a charter change, but it's going to be a recommendation by this body to the town council as to how we might formulate the process by which people can express their interest in vacant positions and going through that. Now, do you have, Russ, did you have a paragraph on that?
If I don't, I can certainly create one,
Okay,
which basically just said what we agreed on and voted on, which is that
based on
open
the,
positions posted and some form of an
okay,
online.
can you share
process.
that as a draft with us to pop in there? Again, whatever models you might be referring to, other towns and so forth. And then we need to, as a commission, decide whether or not that's strictly a recommendation, or do we actually want to codify it in the charter?
Could we also maybe put not for other things, for further study here as
Yeah.
a comma?
Yeah.
So for instance, I think we've heard a lot about reporting lines. That was sort of being discussed at times.
Yeah.
Of course, we weren't going to go through the entire charter to make that, but clearly there were some common themes that came up that the town council
Yeah.
should do some further analysis on.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that we could maybe
Well, it
modify
could-
9.
Yes, that's what I was going to
Yeah.
suggest. In section 9, again, not drafted yet, but recommendations for potential bylaws and ordinance up, and we've got a number of those, right? Every group, I think, came across some.
Oh,
Go
we
ahead,
all-
Chris.
Wait, they've got so many ordinances.
Somewhere in here, I would like to have appended to this, either to these sections or to the whole document, a list of all existing boards, commission, and committees as of the date that we
Yep.
submit this, so that we know, what's in existence today. And there are
Okay.
some that are, like utility commissions, I haven't discussed them. It may not be discussed there, maybe, may not be, but it should be on a list
Did you
somewhere.
read this?
Be an
report,
appendix.
Chris?
An appendix that says, as of the date hereof,
Okay.
Oh, you don't want it updated.
So
at
you
the
want to look
last
on page
minute.
or
4?
it'll be updated.
I would too,
Yeah.
yeah.
Chris, you want to
okay.
look on page 4?
Page 4?
Updated at
Page
the last
4.
minute.
The charter covers 7 elected officials, and those are listed. And then with respect to boards and commissions, the charter has the Board of Selectmen, Town Council, Board of Assessment Appeals, all the elected boards, next page, all the appointed boards, the number of members, the number of alternates. And maybe it could be in a better form, but that's every,
Well, and there are still commissions that are not on.
no, these are all the ones that are reflected in the charter.
Right, but shouldn't we have a list of all the commissions that have been created?
Not part of the charter.
That are not in the charter?
They're,
No?
if they're committees.
on the
and
website.
They're not on in the charter, that's different.
All those are on the website, but these are all the ones that are in the charter.
Oh,
listed.
What
so
are you
you-
thinking of using that for in a sense? What's your idea?
To make, just to make sure that everybody knows what the full scope of the town government was as of the date of this. So it would include things like the Blight Commission and the,
TDAC.
yeah, TDAC and the Historical
If you'd like,
Conservation
I'd like to-
Commission,
I-
Preservation
yeah.
Commission, all these things.
But those should be on the town website.
They are.
Yes.
So, that's the list, as shown on the town
Okay,
website.
well,
I think that's correct. I think you're right.
yeah.
What, you want me to?
No, I think he's
No?
correct. I don't think they need to be on. They're on the.
I think,
website.
I think this report is all
I think-
about the charter.
I think you're correct.
And if the blight
It's not
review
the
was
website.
worthy
It's not
of
the
getting
website.
on here, we'd be listing the blight review, but it didn't pass. So we're only listing those that
I'd
were.
only
adding.
worry we'd be confusing people more than are already confused by adding stuff that isn't in the charter revision document.
What about unfilled vacancies?
Well, isn't that gonna go under recommendations for
Vacancy,
appointment
yeah.
process?
Yeah, that's
Or
gonna,
to-
or the whole discussion
Yeah.
about appointments.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'll
Yeah.
be referenced.
But we
in
actually
there.
have a section currently in the draft changes to the charter that specifies about appointments being made within a certain a length of time. Now, whether that counts as a major change.
Well,
that
we haven't
would
voted on
recommend-
that either.
Yeah.
We haven't, the only thought on that, that was the same part that I believe group 3 did, which we added to, which was for the first selectman, was under the Board of Selectmen, first selectman, the appointment process. So if we didn't incorporate all that, we need to.
Okay,
So Russ, you're editing what we've already done, is that? what
I am
I'm
merely
hearing,
talking
or-
about open boards and commissions,
It's the appointment process.
appointment process,
Yes,
but it doesn't include, it will be that it has to be posted, and then it will be people who have a process by which they can apply, which will be transparent, but I don't think we agreed on or got into the level of detail, nor
we
perhaps
didn't, that's
should we.
why I'm
Nor would
asking.
I recommend we go into that level of detail. It's implied that the full Board of Selectmen will be the ones to review these applicants through whatever means they do. But by elevating and making it transparent, the openings and the process by which to apply, I think you're good.
The level of
Fine.
detail, I don't think is necessary in the
Especially in this high
charter,
level of
but a
document.
recommendation.
In this level, but it's under the Board of Selectmen.
It would be recommended, the process, yeah,
But
but
we
we,
already did that, so I'm
Yeah.
just saying, let's
Well-
make, it's just incorporated, yeah.
well, just make sure that
Yeah.
group 3's
What the document,
discussions are incorporated in your.
Reflected.
We just could change recommendations for potential bylaws, ordinances and other areas of study.
Yeah.
That would be great, because I think we don't own the reporting line thing, but it's something that really needs to be looked at.
And I would like to suggest that under section 9, we urge town council to regularly review and update ordinances. I mean, that'll be part of the paragraph. That is their function, but there are some awfully old ordinances
Right.
that look like they could well be updated.
Well, there's a good opportunity now that some of these things have changed in the charter. So to basically now take that group of ordinances to be sure that they now work with the changes to the charter that are going to be voted upon.
Parking is one.
Parking is one, an excellent one.
There is an ordinance for building a bomb shelter, if you go look.
Well, there might come back.
Well, I have one, so
That
it
might be
fits. It's
useful.
still very useful. Okay. All right, but parking is a great example of that. Yeah,
Or anything. I
Yeah.
mean, it's something,
For
you know,
sure.
they could put together a study group to help them do that.
okay.
Can I also add to that? I think it's, a lot of the boards and commissions should look at their ordinances, and if they're out of date, they should
Make
be
a recommendation,
prompting
yeah.
the town council that this is out of date.
Right, but once these changes are sort of approved, then they can undertake that study with a group and then to support the town.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, last section, and then we can go to specific areas, and I don't think Bill is coming now till 5 o'clock, so.
Yeah, he's.
Yeah, so anyway, we'll have to save, hopefully the process will go through and we can go through whatever's remaining in terms of.
And by the way, just a heads up, next Monday, I will not be here. I'll be flying during the time of this meeting.
Okay.
So
Okay, yeah, starting next week is when I start losing a lot of you, so I
I'll
want
be
to.
here Tuesday, just not Monday.
Okay, all right, let's go to section 11, which is a summary. And there's also details, and let me just explain what this is. So I've been taking you all through each article, and every group has submitted their recommendations and the changes. And then as we've gone through them very specifically, what's been redlined, what's been changed. And then when we've actually gone through it as a group, I've labeled it reviewed. And you see that, for instance, Article 1, we've gone through all that. It's been reviewed, right? No further changes necessary. How that translates to the actual report itself is a summary. So if you look on page 13 of this document, you'll notice the first one, Article 1, we've already reviewed it. I've switched it over. And it just highlights what provisions have been changed, where there's, minor changes or significant changes, and then a summary of what happened. So for instance, the title was updated. Several definitions were clarified, including language of the charter. We've renamed warning to notice, et cetera, et cetera. So it's just a small little summary of what happened within that article. These details that I've shared with you that we've used as a working document to say, okay, we've gotten group 2s and now we're going to review that, et cetera. Those will eventually be transitioned to the summary pages once we approve them. And what they'll be replaced with is the actual charter itself redlined. So you'll see in the summary, C2-4 got changed about certain town officers required to be electors. So let me check out how they changed that. And that you'll see, just as it was in this report, very specific changes to the charter and it was what's being recommended. Okay, so that's what you're saying. Yes, Jeff.
I recommend we add a statement or a footnote on the summary.
Yeah.
That if any conflicts arise between what's summarized and what is in the charter, that the charter dominates.
Of
that.
course, yeah.
But
That's
sometimes you can,
Oh, yeah.
they're inconsistent.
Good point. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, it's truly just a summary and it directs people to the right section in the chart. Okay,
Where is the updated description of retirement plan and benefits?
it's, turn to page,
Did we
thanks
do
for
that?
that. Yeah, it's
Okay.
on,
Yeah.
it's on page 15. It's to establish a retirement plan. That was always in the, what was that, in the general powers, I think?
Up at the top.
Yeah, general provisions to establish, it's number 8, to establish a retirement plan and associated system or systems for all full-time union and non-union employees. And to provide a retirement for any eligible, did we take out
No.
eligible?
Yeah, that's.
No, I forgot to clarify with Cheryl, but that's the one thing we did add. The rest of it came from her.
Eligible.
No,
Oh,
eligible
okay.
didn't come from
Okay,
her.
okay, so take out eligible. 'cause
No,
we-
don't
Oh.
do anything. I need to follow up.
Oh,
with her.
okay, all right, very good, thank
But
you.
the rest of it came from her.
Yes, it did, yeah.
Does this cover like all the part-time employees?
The
That's
part-time employees
helpful.
do not get retirement benefits.
They don't get, but
Part-time nor seasonal. There's another
Or
category.
seasonal, yeah.
But it's
Although
20
the
it's
state
still law.
requires them to-
21
yeah.
hours. Yeah.
The state now requires you to issue W-2s for these folks,
Oh, for
not
sure.
1099s anymore.
Yeah. Yeah, but it's a certain number of hours that you don't
Okay.
don't have it. So,
But you can, I mean, the law, and I'm not sure about Connecticut, but I know New York because, oh my God, this became a huge issue at the bank. When you exceed that 21 hours and it's constant,
yeah.
at some point over 1,000 hours, you need to be given the
Yeah.
benefits.
This language doesn't.
So this does not cover municipalities, I'm assuming.
This language doesn't conflict with it, and this language came from HR.
Yeah.
So.
I know, but
I
it
feel
just,
it most accurately reflects the current
I
situation.
added eligible.
You added
Yeah,
eligible, but that's all
right.
right. We can, I was
Yeah.
gonna ask.
I would
Yeah.
just be sure
We
that
should check
that's,
on that.
yeah, over a
Oh,
certain
no, I think she
period.
was very clear that she felt comfortable about this. And we did modify part-time and seasonal workers. There's some adjustments made to their hiring and firing as well as what was modified too.
But,
Okay.
but this
But they don't
only had to
receive
do,
the
right.
benefits, no,
This only had to do, not health
All right.
benefits, just retirement.
just retirement.
That's different.
That's not actually
That's
changing, it's
different.
just cleaning it up.
It's
to the
cleaning it
current
up.
state.
It's
Okay.
cleaning it up.
Okay.
Yeah, as long as it's in conformance with state law.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right.
Okay, so you see where we're going here. So the
Yeah.
page 13, all we've done is one article in summary, but these others, and we haven't even gone through and reviewed all of them, but we have 55 minutes now.
Well, as far as 4, so let's start with 5.
What are you doing?
Article 5.
You don't want to
Wanna
hit
go back?
2? We haven't done 2
Yeah,
yet.
we've done 2.
No, we
We're
have addition to 2,
We've done 1,
we've done 1.
and we've done
Review.
4. And what was the one, Steve, you did for us,
Parking.
the Board of Education?
Board of
Yeah,
Education.
that's right. You
Okay.
jumped around here. So your front list is incomplete. Your summary is incomplete.
No, yeah, because we
And-
haven't completed it yet.
Yeah,
Yeah, I just
because
wanted to give you a
that's what,
flavor of what it looks
Sorry,
like.
I
That's okay.
misinterpreted
No
section
problem.
2 of
No problem.
paragraph 11.
So if you go to page 15 and you actually see now the real
Yeah.
details from the charter, these are our working documents here. This is about town officers, memberships on the town council, boards and commissions and committees. And Article 2 was done by Group 2. And Jen, do you want to open us up here about some of
Sure,
the
so
changes?
we cleaned this up quite a bit, in the sense of 2-1, because 12 members, there was no Board of Education located in there. And then, we removed the treasurer because we were gonna put together a treasurer article. This, as I said, was sort of an orphan.
We didn't remove their
The treasurer
position.
sentence.
Right.
Which seemed to be sort of a stray in there. And then the only thing we've not discussed, we made clear about required to be electors, except I think Kathleen, you made this added, which is some people are not electors on some of these boards and commissions, like TDAC, right, as example that was given. And then the only thing that we have not discussed as a group is 2-8. And that was, came from John Amarillos, if you recall.
Yeah.
Who came in to see us about removing someone. So just
An
as
elected.
an elected person. So what I did was I did a little research, and this is in actually 6 charters. It's been in some of them since 1958. Some of them, there's a removal clause. So I lifted the one from Westport for us to have that discussion if we wanted to proceed with this removal language. And all transparency, Group 2 did not discuss that because we were sort of done with 2 by the time that John came along. So.
Did he come to Group 2 or he came to the full
No,
commission?
He came to the full
Right,
commission.
right,
At that point, we were
Right.
sort of like, yeah, great, we got 2 done. Not gonna happen.
Can I just say, I got a question on section 2-4. It said unless specified where and how.
So I think that's Jennifer's point. So in TDAC, their
I'm,
bylaws.
yes, I
Right,
know, but,
right.
but.
So
but
maybe
I
we
think
just
it
say
needs to be
unless-
clear,
yeah, unless specified
in the town
in-
charter or in
In,
ordinance.
No,
And-
because it would cover non-town charter, non-charter mentioned commissions or committees.
No, but I
Is that what you're saying?
No, I think you're saying unless specified, and so Angela says specified where, by whom? And so if we say specified in bylaw or ordinance.
Sure.
Where TDAC has a bylaw or ordinance. Under bylaws. Ordinances. All members of appointed committees must be, and my question is here, must be electors or residents. I don't get that.
I don't remember adding this
Yeah.
language.
They have to be electors.
Just electors,
I think
right?
we were gonna remove that. Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't know where
Yeah,
that sentence
okay.
came from.
Okay, just must be electors of the town, period. Yep, okay. Okay,
Well, TDAC, you don't have to be a resident.
yeah, that's why we're saying
Oh, okay,
unless
all right, we're
otherwise.
saying
Yeah, we were
Same
trying
thing. All right.
to deal with
All right.
the sentence above, members of
Yeah.
appointed committees need not be electors or residents.
So it would read, unless specified, all members of appointed
No.
committees.
Unless in bylaw or ordinances, unless specified in bylaws or ordinances, members of appointed committees must be electors of the town.
Okay,
Okay, on board with that?
yeah. I'm good with that.
Okay, so are we doing the one above it also, or is this, are we fine with this?
Section 2.1, I think it was just.
It's okay.
Quick question, 2.1, is it the tax assessor or just the assessor?
It's not, it's just the tax collector.
No, but
But there's an assessor too.
we have an assessor, but is it a tax assessor or is it just an assessor?
And here it's, and here I think
I
it's
always
just
thought it was the
assessor.
tax
It's just
assessor.
assessor.
It is.
Assessor.
It is,
Oh,
I'm sorry?
I believe it's referenced to the assessor and the charter.
it is,
Assessing the value of the property.
I know, but I wasn't sure. I just don't know. I know downstairs it says tax assessor.
Yes, it's
in the
tax
title.
assessor.
so we did update the title based on Cheryl's input, so now in the draft, it does say tax assessor
Okay,
and
so
or
in
tax
C1 it said
collector.
assessor. I just want to be consistent.
Because that's what it says in the charter.
Yeah, and
Just
So it should be tax
That's
assessor.
So if you look at our
Everybody's
draft, it
understood.
does change that.
I
the
agree.
tax.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
we should change it here. and-
Yeah,
and
we should
see-
change it in this
see
paragraph.
one.
Yeah.
I want to-
Where are you seeing?
It's a fourth sentence down.
In C1,
Attack, yes, C two
C2-1.
one, it's on page 15.
Tax assessor.
Tax.
an assessor,
Okay, got it.
okay?
Would you assess anything, other than tax?
Not that I'm aware of, but I just want to be
Okay.
consistent with what we're saying.
know,
That's it.
yeah.
I don't know.
The title is tax assessor, and that's the job.
Is that the title? Yeah.
Like when I go downstairs, it says tax
Well,
assessor.
currently it's tax
It's
assessor and
combined.
collector.
Yeah, but it
And
doesn't,
collector.
we chose not to keep that language, to keep it together, not apart, because we don't know who the next person's gonna
Right.
be.
But I believe-
You might
I
have
believe
to
tax
have-
assessor is
Okay.
probably-
Let's move to the final section here, the
The
John Amarillos, and this is the Westport language. Jen, why don't you just read it?
Sure. Any voter can file with the town clerk a petition addressed to the Board of Selectmen demanding the recall of a named elected official and stating the grounds for a proposed recall. The circulator has 60 days to collect the signatures of at least, and I believe I sent you an updated one that says 1%.
Oh, I don't
That's
think I saw
okay.
that. Okay.
1% of the town's registered voters. The town clerk certifies the petition, i.e. has to check the signatures, as she does normally, and submits it to the Board of Selectmen. The Board of Selectmen has between 7 and 14 days from the filing date to order a recall election, which must be held 10 to 20 days later.
Can you imagine?
Oh, my goodness.
Can you imagine that?
I can't imagine.
I mean, and that's what John
Yeah.
did share with us. I'm gonna let you finish, but John did say, this is so onerous, this will never happen, but this is what the language is. Go ahead, Jen.
Voters will vote for or against removal. If a majority votes in favor of removal, the office is declared vacant.
But I'm not so sure that it is so onerous to get this whole process going. I mean, it depends obviously how many signatures you have to get.
That's one step. right.
That's one step. But I'm also wondering, what is the problem here that we're trying to solve? And are we perhaps opening up a can of worms where people who are just disgruntled with individual X or Y can put a, petition together.
Okay, hold on a second. I lost track of who raised their hand first. I'll start with Chris and then go run this way.
Irrespective of the wisdom of having a recall provision in here, but let's say we decide we want a recall provision. We are creating a second referendum standard, and we should not do that. There is a clear referendum, there's a clear petition and referendum language in the charter. It's, I think it's 50 signatures to even start the process. So you can't be one guy, it has to be 50 guys that come in and say, call this guy back. Then it's 5% of the last election.
Yeah.
And we should stick to that. If you can't get 600 people to say they want the guy out, then you're not going to have an election.
Would you just reference the point in the charter that has, I know exactly what you're talking
It's in here
about.
somewhere.
And how many did it require?
Referendum.
Chris?
It's 50 for the initial,
That's the initial signatures.
Yeah.
What's the percent of
I
the
think it's
electorate?
5%. of the
While you're
last-
looking that up, Russ, go ahead.
This is old from Westport. I think it's missing some substantive pieces that are in the Westport, which is
Okay.
that it states that any holder of elective office may be removed from office for failing to perform the duties of the office non-feasance, performing said duties improperly, misfeasance, or performing illegal
Right.
acts while in office malfeasance, or upon conviction of the felony as provided in the section. It also is not 1%, it's 10% of the electorate to start the process.
That makes sense.
So that's just
Well,
off the
but-
bat. It's
But Russ, I
a
think
higher hurdle.
you're confusing things. You're confusing removal from recall. Recall
This
is,
is section 38-6, which is recall.
right, a recall is something that is, let's say, generated by a group of petitioners. A removal is, let's say, I don't know, I robbed the bank, get convicted, and you guys are like, don't need to do the recall, don't need the petitioner. You've been convicted of a felony, you gotta go.
But you're saying it's 10%.
Yeah, it's the recall provision. That is-
Okay, so
You know, I
there's,
don't know
so there's
where that is
two.
in here.
Okay,
And
well,
this
I'll
is
do a
not the whole
search.
thing.
I'll do a search. Go ahead,
Under
Tom.
town clerk, maybe?
I just, on,
Let me just, for everyone's benefit, as you might recall, John Rules came back and said, the charter speaks to how to remove someone who's appointed. It doesn't address how to remove somebody who's elected.
Right.
If that's important to you, you might want to think about that. I don't even, did he even give us language or just?
No,
No,
he
he
just
just
basically
said that.
But he
cited,
just said that's
No, it's not the town
missing
clerk.
from the charter. We thought, oh, well, that's interesting.
No.
Yeah, and that was the context of how we
Yeah.
brought it forward. Go ahead,
Yeah,
Doug.
no, and I think there are probably reasonable provisions out there, but to give any one person the authority to wreak havoc on government on its
Oh,
own,
as written here, yeah,
to
any voter,
me,
yeah.
just opens up a Pandora's box for anybody that's disgruntled.
Yeah.
To all of a sudden start a process, whether it's rightful or wrongful. It's not onerous enough to make it worthwhile.
Now,
So,
correct me if I'm wrong, I think a provision to remove somebody in an elected position is in the general statute. Is that not right?
it, for what I saw, it depends upon the office.
I see.
There's very specific stuff about a treasurer. There's very specific stuff about other parts, but it's very broad.
Well, let's get legal maybe to
Yeah,
look in
I
that
think legal
further.
should opine
Yeah.
upon this.
Yeah,
And in our thing, it's called a referendum on legislative action.
our
So
thing
is
being
that
what?
any commission or just
That's
elected?
C4-16.
In what? Oh, in our,
Yeah.
okay,
Is
sorry.
it?
C4-16.
But this is legislative
Yeah.
action.
Proceed,
Oh,
this
there
is
it
what
is,
you were
yeah.
referring to, Chris.
Procedures for referendum and legislative action, that's right. So it's there, but we don't have it in the text here today.
but this is the way it's drafted, you don't even need Brown for starting. You could just say,
I don't like the guy.
I don't like
And
the
that's-
guy, I want a recall.
Well, that's why you have to get 50
He,
people.
he didn't give me my, variance.
Yeah,
I want a
so,
recall.
so
Yeah.
you gotta get 50 other people. And then you gotta get 5% of the elected.
That's even right.
That's a very.
How, 5%'s a lot, though.
That's
Not, not of the
That's
elected,
not a
of the
personal
previous
right.
election.
Yeah, the
But
previous
That's
election.
way
doesn't there have to
beyond.
be- doesn't there have to be an allegation, other than you want him out of malfeasance or fraud or?
I
That
thought
section,
so.
that language is in.
I thought
Because without
Yeah.
that, just because you don't like somebody's decisions doesn't grant you the authority to say, I want him out. Yeah, you can elect them out next time or elect new officials, but you can't just have a recall because you don't like somebody.
No, absolutely
Well,
not.
remember though, in this language though, that person who wants them gone has to go out and get a pretty high percentage of vote. Of
I don't care if they got
petitioners.
everybody. If he's done nothing wrong, you don't get him
It's an
out.
election. If it's an.
An
But
election.
it's
Come
a
up popular.
democratic process. If you
But
can't,
it,
if he can't get
No.
enough petitioners to sign his petition,
No.
then get voted on.
If you have
I respectfully
malfeasance,
disagree.
what if you have malfeasance?
If you, then there's a procedure for
That's
that.
criminal.
That's-
So, right,
But in
so I,
California, they do
It's statutory
this, you know,
procedure.
they
get-
do.
Yeah, sorry, Russ,
so I would ask, that let's
They
engage our
decide they don't
council.
like somebody
Hold on,
and they have
Chris.
these recall.
Chris, hold on a sec, Russ.
I would ask that we engage
That's
council.
removal, by the way,
Okay, okay,
if
guys.
there's malfeasance.
Chris, Russ, sorry.
Exactly. It's not a recall.
Okay,
Correct.
guys, Russ and then Todd, go ahead, Russ.
I would ask that we just engage council specifically with two questions. Malfeasance, malpractice, felony,
Is it
whatever. might
covered?
be. Is it covered
Under
under
state
Connecticut
statute?
statute or not? Or
Okay.
it's something that is a gap that we should potentially explore redressing.
Mhm.
And then secondly is there, so if it is not, are there other cases where it's not a recall type scenario where it's, someone opens up, as you were saying, this, I would personally feel Pandora's box of
Yeah.
possible perpetual people not liking someone and trying to gather signatures.
I'm guessing there's a good reason this was never introduced.
Sure.
I'm thinking
But
that.
the question one, if we can get the answer from that from council, I think will be very important, because
Okay.
that is a real scenario. If
Yeah.
you have someone who has a felony or a true,
Yeah,
they misappropriate funds or whatever else, is there a mechanism currently in place?
okay, Todd and then
I
Steve.
think he said exactly what I was gonna say.
Yeah.
We need to have a procedure if somebody's done something illegal, wrong, fraud, malfeasance. Other than that, for me, it's the next election, not you,
If that's elected only, what about appointed?
same thing.
That's not what
Appointed,
it says, though.
appointed you
Yeah.
can
Board of
remove
Selectmen.
somebody for a
That's
reason.
correct.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
I'd just like to note one thing. Legislative action really means laws,
Yeah.
not people.
yeah.
So the only thing that we've got in here today is about law for referendum.
Removed for referendum, correct. Yeah,
Not
but,
people.
what Chris was saying is use the same parameters.
Yeah, but I'm just saying.
Yeah, we shouldn't have to.
Different, if we go that direction. Steve, yeah.
I was just
got it.
gonna say, a quick Google ChatGPT search says that these towns had historically had a recall provision, went to the Supreme Court, and only 5 towns have this provision, Westport being one of them. So this is a historic thing in those town charters.
So it was removed by the,
It went to the Supreme Court for others and it didn't pass. So this is a pretty specific thing that we really want to get the lawyers involved, and I'd
Yeah.
prefer
Yeah.
what has just been discussed.
yeah,
Language applying to both appointed and elected
Yeah.
for cause as opposed to trying to
Okay.
zero out electorate, is
Okay.
my opinion.
yeah, no, good. So if he's not on already, do we know who's on our?
Yes,
Is
let me
Nick
just
on?
have a look. No.
Okay, when
No.
Nick joins, if he's joining early, we can ask him that. Okay, I've already mentioned to him because he has the whole document. I said, take a look at the ones we've highlighted.
Taken.
Okay,
Yeah.
Joe, you had your hand up. I'm sorry. You're all set? Okay, all right. Okay, yes, Judy. That's an appropriate word. Appropriate word.
You
There were
put
names.
yourself in a lot.
Exactly. Okay, so we're not ready to move Article 2 over or everything but that one section.
Can we vote on everything but that one?
Yeah, we don't, we can, it's just, does anybody have any comments? We don't have
I
to.
just have a quick question. When you looked it up, did it say whether or not the Supreme Court struck down? the
No, they
use of-
didn't. So,
I'm-
no, I looked at the research.
Has upheld recall authority in only 5 Connecticut municipalities.
So they've upheld it in 5 municipalities.
They upheld it or they turned it down?
They've upheld it.
They've upheld it. So
Okay.
the OLR
Yeah.
basically said these 5 communities had introduced it. Some are from 53, some are from 62. But that has gone to the Connecticut Supreme Court and they were all upheld.
The language that they put in the charter about removal.
Yep.
All
Yeah.
right.
No, recalls.
Recall, sorry.
Removal
Recall.
is something different.
Are we leaving something off by only having recall?
Well, we should probably discuss removal from office too, but I think we have some of that.
How do you define recall legally versus removal?
I think We might be getting into hypothetical
Yeah,
territory.
let's get,
Yeah.
let's get
I
it,
just keep
Joe,
getting hung
and
up on
then,
this.
I was gonna say, my understanding is
Council's
an
honest.
official can survive a recall.
Yeah.
If the vote
Sure.
goes their way,
absolutely,
because I've seen that happen.
yeah.
Well, Bridgeport, that was one.
So,
yeah.
Survive a recall.
So I'm just going to say, because I see a hand being raised, except Christina, unless there's this, you have a,
Could you come to our mic?
okay, you know what? Well, so Christina's raising, and I just want to move on.
Yeah,
So
okay.
there's three types of things. We're going to get that whole legal review and fit, but thank you for that. I appreciate that.
I just want to clarify something you
Yeah.
just said, because I just did some research. Simons versus Canton. Connecticut Supreme Court ruled municipalities lack the authority to establish recall procedures because the State General Assembly has not granted them that power.
Huh.
We'll let our council do, but
Yeah.
don't tell me that they've all been approved if you don't
There
know.
was 6 cases I
I know, but this just said right here.
Let's get the lawyer to opine.
That's right, but don't tell me they've all been approved if you don't know that. It's
Okay.
not appropriate.
Okay, let's move on. All right, Article 3. First select, we did not, who did Article 3?
We did.
You
We
did.
did.
Any, so we have a couple of points of discussion here. And maybe we can power through this and approve. Okay, go ahead. Who wants to talk? Karen? Or Todd?
Karen,
I'm
yeah.
sorry. We're on page 16, Article 3, the
We
Board
had
of
an
Selectmen.
inconclusive vote on the gender.
Oh.
No, wait,
yes.
that's tie.
It was
Tie.
there,
It's
it was,
done.
Time
Yeah,
and therefore done.
done.
Right.
tie means it didn't pass.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
stayed.
okay.
But
Unless-
I thought
but
we-
Karen, we said Karen didn't have a
Yeah.
chance to vote on that. Is that something that you care to talk about or?
I mean, I
vote
don't
on?
know what the procedures are, if it's a tie vote versus not a tie vote.
It doesn't
I-
pass. So we can bring it up for.
I would have voted to keep it in. So
Well, we don't,
So-
we don't read.
I don't like to be the tie vote, but this breaking the tie.
So just in context.
But if I
for
had been
people
there,
who-
which I apologize for not, I would have voted to keep that language in.
Okay, in context, and I think Todd, you brought this up in group 3.
Yes.
And, should we reference select woman, select man, select person? And I actually found language in the Westport that they have adopted that. In fact, they had 3 select people that were all female. So this is why this came up there. And so they amended their charter because they were in the process. And so theirs says upon election, each member can choose whether they want to be designated selectman, select woman, and select person. We've had this discussion, you and I
Much to
agree.
do about nothing.
But that said, 10 years ago, we spent, and even in 2005, a lot of amendments were made to the charter to reference gender, he and she and so forth, because it all.
Right, but
one gender.
This is
This is just allowing them to
This
do
is
preference.
woke for no reason.
You know, that's
what I
your
said.
opinion, Chris. That's your opinion, but to
I
me,
said the
it
Well,
same.
thank
gives, to
goodness it
me,
was, it's
to
not
me,
an
it
issue
gives the
anymore.
individual the right to
Well,
choose. And
I-
if somebody
So
who
it
is-
doesn't not let them take that right to choose. They can choose it, that.
They
you know,
they
whether
still
it's on there
can
or not.
choose
I
either
think they
way.
can
them
still
need
choose
to,
if they want to.
I was
It's
just gonna
not-
say, the reason I
Yeah.
think that this is good to have here, because I was thinking that otherwise you could go through the whole document and change Board of Selectmen to be and/or select
It
woman,
gets
which
crazy.
No, we're
that
not
would
doing
be
that.
ridiculous.
No,
So
no.
having this here, it kind of just makes the gender irrelevant where it's discussed elsewhere. That was my thinking.
They should change it to Board of Select People.
Oh, God.
No, this is about individual choice. This is not
No,
about the
let's be
group.
logical here.
We are.
I think it's
And this is not
ridiculous.
about changing the board's name. This is changing the person's name. Not changing, offering them the opportunity to be anything they want. I mean,
Well, my question is, if they decide today without this in the charter, if they want to be called first select.
Yes,
women,
they-
then
they're free to
can.
take-
But they
They
can
agree
so
to
do
do
that
They can do
publicly anyway.
They
They
can
can
do
sign and they can address, they
Yeah.
can do. But to make that, to have a woman have to defend that she's not a select man, I
That just
just
doesn't make
can't
them have to
believe you
defend
put
anything.
somebody in that position.
It doesn't make them have to defend
Yeah,
anything
it
any more
does.
than they do
Yeah, it
today.
does.
personal,
Well-
it's complete
So-
personal choice, you
so
know?
we did have a vote.
We had a vote and
Move on to C3-4.
yeah.
So I'll just say, we did have a vote. We're not opening up votes.
Yes.
So
None
we're
of us-
just
none is
carrying
done.
on. So anyway,
All right.
thank you for your thoughts. That'll be taken out.
I think we had updated language on this one.
Which one?
3-4, I think we
Yeah,
said
that's
to
down
apply.
below.
Yeah, you guys, when you were just, I was on the call for that and there was some.
Do not
edit.
self-nominate. Remember, we said
Yes.
will apply?
There were, I thought you guys were editing kind of live during the meeting.
We were trying.
Yes. And so there are, so I can make those changes. I can go back and look at the meeting, make those
Tell me which
changes.
ones, I'm sorry.
What did
Well,
we
I know
not
that we
capture?
decided to change self-nominate to apply. And then my other question is, you've moved up that suggestions for appointment process to the front as a suggestion and not a change to the charter. So would this whole section just not be in here anymore?
Okay, stop for a
Yeah,
second.
well,
Hold on. So 3-4,
Yeah,
right?
the
Is that what
edits-
you're talking about?
The edits in
Down below
red.
in the red?
Yeah.
Okay, what needs to be changed there?
So first of all, the question is, this addresses the appointment process and changes to the appointment process. Do we want that in the charter or do we want that to be suggestions that, like the one, like you suggested,
Yeah.
putting in the front as suggestions for town council?
Yeah.
It was going to be in the charter, and that's just calling it out in particular at the beginning of the document.
Okay, but it will also be here.
Yeah, it's gonna
Okay.
be in the charter as this is written well.
As
with
this
the
is,
adjustments.
as this address.
Yeah, so I think, we can update this and then once Russ finishes his.
So we're gonna
Well, it's
take out
gonna be
reflect-
basically just another summary of this.
well,
At the end
that's
of the
my
day.
point. Where did it belong? That's my question that I asked.
It belongs
initially.
under power to make certain appointments and fill certain vacancies. There's no other place in the
Okay,
charter
then
that it
let's leave
belongs.
it,
So it
yeah.
needs to be there, but it needs to be also, can you just help me with? what
Sure.
was it?
So I think we agreed that all vacancies on boards and commissions shall be posted to the town website with a link to a form to allow residents / electors to apply.
Yes.
The first selectman's office shall refer the applicant
Yeah.
who indicate membership in a political party to the Republican Town Committee or the Democratic Town Committee. Now, where we also had this point, and I think it was you, who basically also talked about maybe how the unaffiliated works, or that they may not want to be referred to, if they're in the committee, they just want to go straight to the select person.
Yeah.
So that's where we need a modification.
Do we need to consider the independent party? Do they have a committee?
They don't have a
it's
committee.
unaffiliated.
Today, they don't have a committee.
Well, there is actually an independent party.
Party.
That's what he
Yes.
said, yeah.
Yeah.
I was wondering, and just say, to indicate membership in a political party to, their committees if they exist, maybe not even refer to Republican town or Democratic town, because you could have the Green Party. Who knows, at any time.
We
So,
don't though, do we?
Not
So,
yet.
so,
Not-
but shouldn't we
Oh,
recognize
yeah,
the
we could
parties?
So I'm
Yeah.
saying just
Yeah.
take out
Shall be,
Yeah.
shall be.
Just
referred
take-
To
to-
their committees.
their political party committees.
Don't we have to add something after that, though, saying to the extent they don't have a political,
Yeah, to the extent.
Yeah.
Yeah,
have
I
a
agree with
political
you.
affiliation?
Yeah.
Then what?
They go to the board of select. to the-
Directly
To the board. I
But
would-
we also don't want to force people to go through their political committees.
Right,
if they
that's what
If
we
they,
said.
yes,
Yeah, I agree with that.
I mean, we could just take out that whole thing and that's just how it will happen in practice. We could take out that whole
I
sentence
think you're
about
right, like, why
referrals.
have it there?
Yeah, so if you just make it all go away, then it reads, all vacancies shall be posted,
And-
for those
and-
to apply. the
Yeah,
Board of Selectmen
right.
office
It
shall
doesn't
have-
need to belong in the charter, but these kind of details can be in the recommendations in their own,
Yeah.
bylaws or however they
But
want
the
to choose it.
practice of different first selectmen has varied quite significantly, whether if somebody comes to them who is registered with a specific party, whether they kind of suggest to them that they go talk to their town committee or not. Sometimes first selectmen do that, sometimes they don't.
So I'm positive, I guess I'll put it in the form of a motion, but I'll read a version of this that takes that sentence out that I think solves what
Go.
our inspiration was. So
Okay.
all vacancies on boards and commissions shall be posted on the town website with a link to a form to allow residents or electors to apply. The Board of Selectmen shall review and select the nominees, interview nominees, and vote in a regularly noticed meeting on the appointment of the selected nominee. Then it just says that they go to the Board of Selectmen, and their process as to how they go through the applicant, whether they see, it's just, they can figure out that process. They don't need to go that granular here. But it means that the board should be able to see all applicants, and whether they push it to the committees, fine.
Yeah, and it looks like that sentence was updated, except for that nominee should be changed to
So
applicant.
you just strike the sentence.
That wasn't the.
Yeah. I got
Yeah,
it.
if we
I
strike
got
that
it.
So
whole
we're gonna
sentence,
strike that.
it's a lot cleaner.
Are we gonna?
Strike the second sentence.
Yep.
Just change nominate to apply.
Yep.
And then
goes nicely.
applicant, and then,
Applicants out, because that whole sentence is
yeah,
gone.
the whole sentence goes.
So then the rest of it reads the.
So
Board of
instead of the word
Selectmen-
nominees, you want to just change that to applicants?
Yeah, that would be applicants. Yep.
Now, this is not something for charter decision, but, what if there's a person, let's say Kathleen, my God, she, every time there's a vacancy, she's throwing her resume in there, she wants to be reviewed and
We
so
have
forth.
that.
And
We
the
have
Board of Selectmen said, oh my God, not her again. We don't want to even interview her for the
You don't
process.
have to, you just.
I
review
hope
it.
not,
No, you
right?
just
So I
review
hope
it.
there's that, you're like,
Yeah.
no, doesn't
Yeah,
have
and
any of the
that-
skills that are required to serve.
Not required.
That's why
this
this is
language,
the, this
Okay.
is the review.
I don't want to put
For the
them
Board of
in a
Selectmen
bad
shall
spot.
review and select.
Yeah,
Yes.
Yeah.
Why don't you say the board is at their discretion?
yeah,
I mean,
something like
Which is
that.
implied. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe, but
They don't have,
I think we should add that at their discretion. Sure. Because you have to have some discretion when it comes
You-
to
I think-
somebody that may be a
Yeah.
serial filer or something,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, so if I'm not even picked for the review process,
That's
it's their
okay.
discretion.
Yeah.
I can't say anything against that. I
No,
can't say,
that's
oh, it's
it.
in the charter.
Yeah.
So, yeah, okay.
Can I just raise the question, because we were going to have the discussion, we haven't, whether audit committee should be chosen by the town council, not the Board of Selectmen, trying to keep a separation of powers.
that's.
Well,
I agree with Judy.
it's,
I also
it's a
think-
real issue, you guys, and I think somewhere it's got to be
Yeah, I
figured
think-
out, right?
I think also
We already
ethics.
voted.
Well, ethics, I already said that about, and I don't think anybody listens, so, but I
Right,
think
but-
audit is another.
Listen.
Well, you know what I'm
But to the
saying.
extent
nobody-
that there's nothing more virtuous necessarily about town council than the selectmen.
Well,
There's 12 of them.
yeah, but when you have internal audits that are not released,
Yeah, but we
I
can't
mean,
focus
these-
on what's the
but-
problem.
no, but I'm
But
just
that is the
saying in general,
responsibility
we've
of
had
the audit
other
committee.
issues.
That's the responsibility of the audit committee.
Well,
Should we discuss this in those sections or is that?
well, we tried to,
Well, so, okay,
yeah, please.
so,
Kathleen, do we have,
Okay.
Are you not,
I didn't get to state your name just so we have this.
Yeah.
are you not in your processes deciding to recommend that town council should approve all appointees, at least to the audit committee, if not the Board of Finance and P and Z and many of the other commissions?
We have the ones
Well,
listed.
okay, thank you. Thank you.
My point is that if the town council must approve applications to the audit committee that are given to them, recommended by the Board of Selectmen, they have that power already.
They do, yeah. So that's where I was gonna go for just a second. Hold on, Russ, just a second. So the only new language that we're introducing here is that it's, and what Judy is suggesting is that you bypass the Board of Selectmen and you go straight to
Well, the
town
question
council.
is whether they should be elected, and apparently nobody's ready
elected
to
on-
elect it.
Elect-
For audit,
Yeah.
for audit.
That's a
Nobody's
hard no.
ready to elect them.
No,
So
that's a
the
hard no.
alternative
Yeah.
we discussed was whether
Okay,
or not.
let me
they
go back,
should
let me go back to the original, so just as recall, this section is about the appointments of the Board of Finance, and we added here Ethics Board and Audit Committee, but they've always been part of that. We just clarified it here in this section. It is already referenced in their Ethics Board section and the Audit Committee, that not only will they be approved by the Board of Selectmen, but they're also being approved by the town council. That's already in existence. We're not making any changes.
That's
We're
the
adding
way
a
it is.
clarification, always the thing. The new thing that we are introducing here, part of our discussion process, is whether planning and zoning should also be subject to confirmation by the town council. That's the only change. And now whether or not we're considering that for every board and commission, I think not. This was only been brought up by this body for just one addition, and that was planning and zoning, not all boards and commissions.
But you get
Am I-
into
do I have
that,
right?
You're taking away all the power of the Board of Selectmen if you keep adding all of these
Well, we're
different.
not taking the power away,
No, they
we're
still have-
adding to the
But you're adding it-
responsibility of the
well,
town.
We're
council.
adding a control.
I know.
We're adding a control to some of these key what has risen to be key boards and commissions. That's what.
So maybe you need a
Right,
vote on
okay.
whether to add planning and zoning to this paragraph.
That's the only change that's
Well,
being,
So
I
I
do.
would
Go ahead,
deposit
Robert.
it as a motion, which then will allow discussion if you want.
Yes.
yeah, but
we can-
we don't have all bodies here to
Okay.
vote.
No.
But at some point you gotta, I mean,
At some point, we
At
have
some
to have
point, you
to
gotta
go.
vote.
Okay, go ahead,
I
Russ.
thought
Yeah.
that
Right,
was
I would like to
fine.
move that the language be as follows. All vacancies on board and commission shall be posted on the town website with a link to the form to allow resident electors to apply. The Board of Selectmen shall review and select from the applicants, interview applicants, and vote in a regularly noticed meeting on the appointment of the selected nominee. Appointments to the Board of Finance, the Ethics Board, and Audit Committee, that's it, are subject to confirmation by the town council as specified in this charter. So my motion is to clear out that one sentence and not add planning and zoning.
I'll second the motion.
Oh, God, here we go again.
Okay, well, let's
So
go.
this is
let's
fine.
go
You do
right-
it the other
So
way.
this is where it is.
We can.
Okay.
Motion on the floor.
You didn't
That's
add,
been
you didn't
seconded.
add your discretion, but we'll do that at a.
Now we can now
yeah,
amend it.
Yeah,
also
So I
think
would
it's the
amend it
audit
to add
board.
after,
okay, well, Chris, go ahead. Speak.
okay, so I would like to amend the motion by adding, in the second sentence, the Board of Selectmen at their discretion.
Yeah,
Yes.
I'll second the amended.
And I'm good with that.
okay.
And shouldn't it be the audit board, given what we're doing elsewhere?
And I'll second that
Yes.
amendment.
Oh, here comes Bill. Perfect timing.
All right.
Bill, say yes or
So
no.
the
I'm not
planning,
telling you
just a
what you-
second. Was the wording planning and zoning commission
No.
are, what?
It's out.
It's
Oh, I am taking that out. I'm
The
saying
motion is out.
Okay. All right, got
The
it.
motion is without that.
The motion doesn't have it.
I just wonder if that's all
So
necessary.
Bill, we're powering through here. We're on
great.
Article 3.
So we're just about to have the first votes. The conversation is basically, this has been modified, and then this is basically, they're the addition of ethics and
Are we
audits,
at the point of discussion
Yeah.
before we vote?
and then
Yeah.
So there's a motion on the floor that she's just getting him up to speed. The motion on the floor to have everything that we see currently on page 16 with the amendments as mentioned, but it doesn't have planning and zoning as an appointment to
No, vote by
Subject to
council.
confirmation. So
subject to
P&Z's out.
confirmation town at P and Z. That's the motion that P and Z is out.
Because
Go ahead.
P and Z was in
Discussion.
our Group 1 committee and we discussed this specifically.
Yeah.
And this was looked upon by some as a counterweight to the idea that there's no elected officials in the land use process.
Mhm.
So as a consolation prize, this was brought up and put in. And at the time, I think there was a lot of support for it. So it's surprising now to take it out when it seems to make sense when you looked at the review of all of the authority and the lack of checks and balances that P and Z has over it. This was the one point to involve elected officials in the process.
Right. So we're going to go around this way so that you, so Bill, you can listen to everybody as we talk about it and then you can
Can I
have
just ask,
a question. Yeah, go ahead.
was there a consensus? I mean, why we did not do it? I just,
Well,
that's
what
what
we're
I'm-
talking about.
that's my
That's where
question.
we're going to go. Go ahead, Steve. Your thoughts?
I remember the discussions in Group 1, and they were very thorough on this point. I'm indifferent on this point.
Okay.
It's not a tiebreaker.
No.
Okay,
No.
okay. Well, we'll come through the vote. Go ahead, Todd.
I got no comment.
Okay.
You know, Board of Selectmen is elected, and I think changes to the charter are substantive, so that's why I stand by my motion.
Okay. Thank you, Karen.
what was your motion? I'm sorry.
It was so everything, we strike the second sentence, we had to change it from nominees to applicants, and then it would correct what is current state, which is to say appointments to Board of Finance, Ethics Board, and Audit Board, yes, would be subject to confirmation by town council. So it removes the P and Z as an addition.
As
an addition,
so your
Correct.
motion was in favor of those three, just not P and Z.
Status quo for what's going, but adding the requirements around transparency and application, and that the whole Board of Selectmen see the applicants for every Board of Commission.
Karen.
I'm fairly on the fence about that. I think, I think I would be happy to leave it out because I don't think there's a problem that we're trying to fix here, but I also don't think it would hurt too much to add it in. So yeah, I'm on the fence here.
Okay.
Same.
Okay, Chris?
I have no comments.
Okay. Judy?
I don't get it, so I don't have any comments either. I think it takes more than having a vote by the town council to make a difference.
Okay. I also am on the fence, but I'm leaning more to thinking that it is a good next step in terms of checks and balances. So when we have a vote, I'll make up my mind.
Could I ask a question before I give my comments?
Yeah.
Who seconded this motion?
I did.
I'm sorry,
I did.
I'm sorry, I'm sorry.
Doesn't mean I vote that way. I just
Just
seconded
the
it.
2 seconds.
Yeah, okay, I don't think it's necessary for P and Z to be approved both by the Board of Selectmen and Town Council. I mean, there's probably no harm in it, having Town Council involved, but I don't see what the real problem is that we're seeking to solve here, and why Town Council is going to be any better at kind of approving appointments than the Board of Selectmen.
Okay, Bill?
I don't think I have any comments. I mean, I guess, just maybe a question, would they approve them annually or when a person was appointed?
On their term.
On their term?
Yeah,
When a person was
on their
appointed.
term, yeah.
And not,
is a 3-year term.
yeah, so
A regular member.
they would do it, it would be for 3 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it'd be consistent with what Board of Finance, Ethics, and Audit currently got through.
I think
Yes,
land
Jen.
use, and I think it's something that you said has become a very big issue in this town. And the use of land, how land is regulated, the impact of those regulations. And so I'm in favor of adding them in. I think that it adds another balance and also put some other accountability too on people's decisions who basically put them forward. So I think it's a good check and balance system.
Okay, all right, so,
Can I ask a question?
of course.
If you're going to do or consider land use, then you would also consider inlands, wetlands. I don't see the difference. I mean, we're either doing all this or we're not.
Good point.
Maybe we can vote on that.
Well,
separately.
let's go with this, the motion that's on the,
Call the question. Yeah.
yes, Chris.
Call the question.
I'm sorry.
Call the question.
Yeah, we're gonna call the question. Yep, okay. We're just sticking with
We still
planning and
have to
zoning at this
decide
one.
whether they're elected or appointed, all of those.
Yes, we haven't gotten that.
Okay.
Done that.
I think for clarity, it would be good if we reread the motion.
Okay, thank you.
Good luck. I'm getting good at this. So all vacancies on boards and commissions shall be posted on the town website with a link to a form to allow residents or electors to apply. The Board of Selectmen shall review and select from the applicants, interview applicants, quotes, and vote in a regularly noticed meeting on the appointment of the selected applicant or nominee.
You forgot to say at their discretion.
At their discretion. Thank you. Appointments to the Board of Finance, the Ethics Board, and Audit Board are subject to confirmation by the Town Council as specified in this charter. That is the
I have
motion.
one question. The addition of the phrase "at their discretion" is where in this sentence?
That's with them reviewing and selecting nominees or applicants.
So
to
Board of-
move
Should
it
be
to-
right at the beginning, the Board
Board
of
of Selectmen,
Selectmen
comma.
at their discretion.
Yeah, comma at the discretion.
Got
Yeah,
Yes.
and
So if you were to vote no against that motion, sorry,
Yeah.
because,
that's fine.
you know,
Yeah.
You're making a new motion there with the planning and zoning.
So
That may be the next motion.
If you vote yes, this is the way it is. If you vote no, maybe there's another motion.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, the point of
Yes,
clarification,
of course.
is resident term eliminated or is resident term still?
Resident / elector is in there. That's as it's written here.
So I thought we agreed to make it.
We
just
did.
elect,
We did.
not
We did.
resident.
Just
The
elector.
resident is out. That's
All
my
right,
point.
so then I will reread it as with all the new stuff.
I don't think we got to that yet.
No.
Did we get to
We
that or
did,
not?
we did before,
We did?
early, yes, we said
Okay.
electors.
All
only to cover-
vacancies on
Wait,
boards?
Russ,
Yes, ma'am.
sorry, hold on a second, because I'm gonna ask for a modification there. At with a link to a form. Okay, that's gonna be, there, it could be a thumbnail in a couple of years or whatever, it's just a link. to the website. That's fine.
I
Form.
don't think you have to be,
I think you just say to,
With
the link
on the
To allow on.
With a- with
Shall be
a-
posted, it
and
will be
include
posted
a
to the town
form.
website to allow,
Yes.
just take
Yeah.
with a link to a form.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Wait. Shall be posted on the town website.
to allow.
To allow,
To allow, yeah.
Got it.
okay.
not a resident or.
Not
No,
residents.
just
To allow
Can
electors.
we put down shall be posted to the town website in a form to allow?
No.
That is
No,
a
just, I don't
form
think you
of-
need it.
Let's do the
Yeah.
Not
website.
necessarily a paper form, but in a form, when you go to the website.
I think
you can-
that's getting too
Yeah,
granular.
yeah, it's a website. Yeah,
Okay.
okay.
So-
All right, thank you, Russ. Please
Okay.
continue.
One more try. This is why we do this.
One more
All
reading.
vacancies on boards and commissions shall be posted on the town website to allow electors to apply.
Yes.
Can I?
Almost
on
made
that point?
it.
Because we're changing that. This is saying you have to be an elector to be appointed to any of these committees,
That's
correct?
Boards and commissions,
Yeah.
yeah.
Boards
That
and
is-
commissions,
Boards
yeah.
and commissions.
Yeah.
Yeah. You have to be a voter.
That's
Oh,
considered-
voter, okay,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, it's a
okay.
voter.
We
That's-
haven't got into whether or not it's a renter or.
Yeah,
No, no, no.
that's-
Just you have to
Yeah,
have,
just gotta-
you have to
sorry,
be a
sorry,
registered
sorry.
voter. That's it.
Sorry.
Yeah,
All
no
right,
problem.
try again, Russ.
Go
We're on
ahead.
it again.
Doing a good job,
All good.
Russ.
It's all good. I'm getting good practice.
Well, this is,
All vacancies on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All vacancies on boards and commissions shall be posted on the town website to allow electors to apply. The Board of Selectmen, at their discretion, shall review and select from the applicants, interview applicants or individual, and vote in a regularly noticed meeting on the appointment of the selected nominee. Appointments to the Board of Finance, the Ethics Board, and the Audit Board are subject to confirmation by the town council as specified in this charter. That is my motion.
That's the motion.
We've left out the word committees.
I was just gonna say the same, and I just kept my lips
Which committee?
closed. But yes, so
Boards, committees,
Boards,
scan the word
commissions,
committees.
committees.
Boards,
commission.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then it's not just going to be electors, because there are some committees where you don't have to be an elector.
Only the one.
Well,
right?
then there are people that are on committees because of their office in town hall, and they aren't
That's right.
electors
There
here.
are, like the town engineer. for
That's
instance,
right.
Yeah,
that's true.
or the-
But that's
the
not gonna be
department-
open on the website as a
That's
vacancy.
right.
I don't think. Joe?
I thought we had put in some language about committees that said unless otherwise specified.
Correct,
something
we
to that
did.
effect.
We did.
Yeah.
So committees could go in there. It's fine. It says otherwise specified.
That's
You could
that's in
apply.
the-
If you're on
okay.
a committee.
I think so too.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
All right.
Russ, we're gonna literary license here, add committees. Your
Okay.
motion is made. Do I have a second?
I second it.
Todd seconds. Okay. We've already had discussion. Any other
You got
discussion?
tired of me reading it over and over? again?
Yes, I
We
did.
did.
Yes.
Okay.
Shall I, should we go
Yes,
around?
yes.
Okay.
Yes, you need to have the vote.
Mr. Case,
Yes.
yes. Miss Corbett,
No.
Miss Holm,
No.
Miss Jameson, yes. Mr. Kind,
Yes.
Mr. Lampert,
Yes.
Mr. Labris,
Yes,
Miss Neville,
I think no.
Mr. Pallow,
No,
Mr. Perrette,
No.
Miss Willett.
no,
No. Okay, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 no's and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 yeses. So the motion did not carry.
Okay, now we have to put another motion on the table.
Mhm.
I'll make a motion, we do exactly what Russ said, insert planning and zoning into that motion.
You have to say the whole thing.
No, you don't.
No.
That's what I was saying.
You can try my scribbled notes.
No, no,
I
no,
can't
yeah, for a
even
second.
read it anymore.
Okay, so the motion on the table from Bill Perrette is to, appointments to the Board of Finance, the Ethics Board, the Audit Board, and the Planning and Zoning Commission are subject to confirmation by the town council as specified in this charter.
I'll second the motion.
Okay, Jennifer seconds,
who made the motion?
and Bill,
Oh,
Bill,
Yes.
Jennifer seconds, want to go
Okay,
through?
Mr. Case,
Yes.
Miss Corbett,
Yes.
Ms. Holm,
Yes.
Ms. Jameson, no. Mr. Kynes.
Yes.
Mr. Lampert.
Yes.
Mr. LaBrus.
No.
Ms. Neville.
Yes.
Mr. Callow.
Yes.
Mr. Perrette.
Yes.
Ms. Willett.
Yes.
Okay, so we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 yeses and 2 nos. So the motion carried.
Can we do another one on inland wetlands? I'll make that motion.
To add inland
Yes, I
wetlands?
think if you're doing land use, it should be consistent.
So I'm sorry.
Well, first of all, does the town council have the bandwidth?
Well, that was my question from the very beginning.
Okay,
Are we
those
just?
questions will come up during the comments.
I think
You have
the
a
motion-
motion
I know,
on the
but
floor.
that-
I think the motion is passed.
Yes, that one.
That one,
That
he
one.
wants to make a
Now,
new
do
motion.
Oh, a new one
include
with the
adding
same one, but
wetlands.
now.
No, what you want to do is amend this
Yes,
motion.
that's
Amanda, I
right.
think you're right. It's amended.
You have to amend this now.
I am amending it.
So
I'm making the
so there's
motion.
an amendment on the floor that needs a
Include inlands
second.
and
I
wetlands.
think we have to talk first about.
Yeah, we do. After, if there's a second.
No, they have to be.
I thought we had-
voted on by
I thought it was-
the town council.
I just thought there was a question that one day inland wetlands, we would discuss whether they were elected or not.
Well, that's what I thought should happen first.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
that
I'm
was
not,
not a motion.
no, I'm not. I thought we were coming back, but if we're gonna have that discussion, we should do it before amending this. I agree.
So do you want to make that motion to have?
No,
this?
not necessarily. We ought to have that discussion.
Well, why don't you put a motion on the table and you can have the discussion.
All right, then I'll put a motion on the table to discuss whether or not inland wetlands should be elected
Well, it's gotta be one way or
versus
the other.
appointed. Take your pick. It doesn't.
You're making the motion.
I am making the motion. I thought we
or
were
against.
coming back to this. If we're going to not come back to this, then we're all gonna have to
can I
decide
make
whether
a
or not
motion
they
for
should
you?
be elected.
Yeah,
Yeah,
she
make a
doesn't wanna make
motion.
All right.
That inland wetlands should be elected.
A second then. All
Okay.
right. That's simple.
Okay, let me add to the comments
Where
here.
were we? On what page?
Article, 10 on page 24. I think once we get there, that's the appropriate step to speak about whether or not this commission should be elected. I think we're interjecting something that we haven't had the benefit
Oh,
of
that's
full
what I said. We should
discussion
have
in
a
Article,
discussion.
in
Yeah,
Article 10.
I agree.
So there's a motion on the table, there's a second. I will vote no, because I think we have not had proper discussion about Article 10. on-
So I will withdraw the motion
So will I,
Okay.
and then you,
and then we'll do it next time.
okay, yeah, no problem.
Sarah Pierce on the Zoom, if you could just turn off your camera. We're just seeing a black screen. That would be appreciated. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm just trying to figure out how to do that. For some reason, it's.
No problem. We'll figure it out on our end.
Sorry,
Are
Todd.
we gonna go back to what we discussed when we first got here? Elected, if you have to, can rent or own, or we not doing that
Yeah,
today?
we do want to pick that up, and we've,
So I did have one more comment about it.
okay, we've got 5 minutes before we start our
So,
planning.
My
Yeah.
my only comment is I also have a lot of clients that have properties that are set up in trusts.
Yeah.
Or they're only in the wife's name.
Right.
For liability purposes, but they own it jointly. By doing this, we just preclude a lot of talented people from being there because there are so many intelligent people that don't have properties in their name.
Didn't you solve that by saying that their property owners are beneficial owners?
That would help. By the way, I like that. That's one way of doing it. If your wife owns it, are you a beneficial owner or vice versa? Then we should define it, but that would make me a lot more comfortable.
Yeah.
I think, if you don't mind me saying, I just spent.
Or try LLCs.
I just spent 3 years litigating this issue, not personally litigating. And just today signed an agreement, in part on this very subject. I think this is a very complicated issue. And I realize in some situations, it's just plain vanilla. And we all could agree on that plain vanilla. I think there's a lot we need to fix. I'm not saying I'm against it. I just think that, just to raise your hand right now,
This is what we're discussing. So before you came,
We had a discussion. This is.
if you already done that.
No, we waited for you.
We're
so.
waiting for you. So we were discussing in today, you have to be an owner of real property to be on the Board of Finance. i.e. you have to own property in town. right? So there has been a discussion to remove that requirement on the Board of Finance. Okay, just to give the color. Okay,
Well, I mean, if.
it went in, what, 10 years ago? 10 years ago.
Assuming it's a good idea to be an owner of property, I think that's a basic question, yeah. But I think if that's an important thing, then I think sort of modify, if it's in trust, if it's an irrevocable trust, you can't own it because it's not an irrevocable trust.
So,
For
so
tax
that,
purposes.
so, and I'm just mindful because we're about a minute from starting our, excuse me?
We have a bio break?
Oh, yes, why don't we do that? Everybody wants to take a break. We're gonna take this discussion
You don't want to.
after the public hearing.
Thank you.
And so we'll take this up after we have the.
And there's
public
still
hearing.
one more little sentence on, C 3-4 that would be.
Yeah, about
The
the days.
180 days.
Yeah, well, that hasn't been discussed. Okay, let's take a pause here. Everybody needs to take a break. The public hearing will start in 5 minutes.
Should we rearrange the?
Yeah, if we can have some space available for, okay, there's a 5 minute, look at the act. We'll be starting the public hearing in 5 minutes. We just want to give a break to members of the commission.
No, it's a break, it's a break. It's a breakdown. That's okay.
You're not. I don't. I can't hear you.
I know, but my point is they're both land use.
So you can't have a life. In practice, and not a like PNC.
It should have been done, I agree.
Yeah. I think that wrote it.
No, well, that's right, I know that.
All right.
I think we're making progress though.
Well, yeah, I think
so,
so. I
right?
think so. It's slow. We've got
And look, the P and Z, that's a,
2.5 more
it's a
weeks.
close call with that one. I could have gone either way with them. The board of selectmen, I mean, sort of a good check and balance if there's no elections.
I think so.
I think, yeah, obviously you did.
Welcome, Karen.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming.
So are you gonna be voting on things on Monday while I'm not here?
I'm hoping we can get through most of it tonight.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
and I'll let you know. You're gonna,
I'm gonna be on a plane. I have a 3:30 flight.
and then.
I'll be here Tuesday.
Tuesday, good. That's fine. I think we can leave most of the votes till Tuesday if we have any left.
Yeah, I have a 6:10 meeting tonight. Am I gonna make that or do I need to move it right now? Just tell me the truth. I'm okay if I have to move it.
If you're able to move it, that'd be awesome. Till 6:30.
Yeah, I can move it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, appreciate that.
Yeah.
Bill,
I'm not
Bill,
against that.
you're on recording.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm gonna do some, just take care of it.
I'm just trying to make it equitable. I agree with you. Yeah, I think you points well taken. It's a big issue.
Hello, how are you?
I mean, no, today.
We were in the last 2 hours.
Heading to Charleston tomorrow. We're recording, yeah.
Well,
2 solid hours, 2 great hours. Yeah, productive hours.
I think they were productive.
Yeah,
I-
yeah.
I think P and Z is almost becoming the most important thing in town. With his hopes.
Okay, I need everybody, no chatting in the hallways. Everybody has to come to class.
chair.
Yeah.
I go hide over here.
Well, there needs to be some place where people can.
Sure. I've done something I said.
Ready? Let's go.
We're chatting in the hallway.
All right. You can still see us. For a guest. That's pretty good right there. Steve is generously agreed to move.
Well, and I'm crushing these people, so.
So you're feeling pressure on that group.
Yeah.
I'm not a genius.
Should we just move this to the left? I don't think that they would-
No, that's similar to.
We don't need to get off this Zoom and onto another Zoom
No,
link.
no.
Good.
I joined you here, so we gave.
Now you're coming back. Now you want to be our friend.
Right.
How many people are on the?
Is that you? That's mine.
This is mine.
That's yours. Okay.
You can sit here. Yeah.
My roommate in college asked me why, up until about 2 years ago.
Ladies and gentlemen, just waiting for two more commissioners to join us here.
And we have somebody whose name is John's iPad. I think it might be Sarah. Yes.
Okay.
That's her way.
Yeah.
That's
I
good.
don't know whether you want to change that.
No,
Sarah.
that's fine.
Okay.
I'm crushing you here, giving people
Who
a
is
spot.
John iPad?
Here.
No, Sarah Pierce.
Yeah,
Sarah.
that's fine. That's fine. Where did, I just had Judy and now I lost her.
She'll be right back. I think she's getting her water or something.
Yeah.
Oh, sure. Where's he going? No, where's he going? All right, let's begin before I lose anybody else. First of all, good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Town of New Canaan's Charter Revision Commission public hearing. The public hearing will be followed by the regular meeting. Today is Tuesday, the 14th, and we are going to do a roll call and then we'll open for public comments.
Mr. Case,
Present.
Corbett,
Here.
Ms. Holm. Present. Ms. Jameson, I'm here. Mr. Kimes.
Present.
Mr. Lampert.
Present.
Mr. LaBrie. Ms. Neville.
Here.
Mr. Pallo.
Here.
Mr. Perrette.
Here.
Ms. Willett.
Here.
Okay, thank you, everybody. So we're going to open up a public hearing where members of the public are welcome to speak to the Charter Revision Commission regarding the town charter and the commission's draft report to the town council, which is due by May the 4th. We actually have copies of the most recent draft 9 here that's available right next to Commissioner LaBrie, if anybody would like one. Suggestions regarding any additions, deletions, updates, clarifications to the town charter as a whole and the articles within the charter are welcomed. This is also available on the CRC's website under draft report folder. Speakers are requested to provide their name and comments will be limited to up to 4 or 5 minutes, whatever, subject to the total number of speakers. Do we have anybody who would like to speak? We also have members of the community also on Zoom. I'll start first with the members here present. Would anybody like to make any comments?
No.
Not, okay.
I don't know if you're doing it just on what you said.
So, you know, if you had anything, it's a public hearing. You can speak on anything. Kim Norton. Welcome.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. I want to thank you all for all of your work. I've been watching a lot of the debates and all the things that have been going on. So I think you've been really working hard. So thank you for your service to our town. My name is Kim Norton. I'm on the town council. This is my 5th year on town council. I've never gone through a charter review before, so I'm learning just as you are, but I do have some comments. I looked over, I was on draft 7, so I don't know how much has changed since draft, between 7 and
Fairly
9.
Substantial, but that's fine. Yeah.
Did you go over Article 3? Did you revise that from 7 to 9?
Do you have
Chris
a copy
gave them.
of what we
Yes,
have?
Yeah, I'm not gonna, I don't know if thank you, I have a copy, but I'll just go with 7, because I don't think you've
That's
gone
fine.
back to 3, Article 3 between changes 7 and 9.
Okay.
I think you kept going, but okay. So I have a bunch of kind of minor comments, and then I'm going to spend most of my time talking about the parking commission. So my first comment is on Article 3, C3, 4, and I can hand these in and so you can have them in writing.
Please.
But that part is the power to make certain appointments and fill certain vacancies.
Mhm.
And my only comment on that is I'm not sure that the first selectman needs to refer self-nominees to political parties. And I just want to say that I'm speaking as a town council member, but not on behalf of the whole town council. So this is just my experience and opinion inform the way that I'm commenting. Whether they need to refer self-nominees to political parties in the service of time, efficiency, transparency, and fairness. It seems like the first selectman can vet those candidates. And then if candidates come from the political party, they can put those names in, but not a lot of times the political party doesn't necessarily know. I mean, there's 20,000 people in the town. They don't know everyone. So to refer someone, unnecessarily, if they don't know them, it kind of slows down the process and might affect some of the fairness of that person self-nominating.
So you'll be glad to hear we just took that out.
We just changed that.
I'm sorry.
You
should be happy.
I
So
didn't wanna
sorry, we think
interrupt you.
alike.
I didn't want to interrupt
Okay.
you, but we just.
I'm
struck
just
that
wasting your
reference.
time
No,
then.
not
Okay,
at
well,
all.
if this keeps going, then we have something in common.
Not at all.
Okay. Article 5, Board of Finance, Financial Procedures and Taxes. I have one small addition to C533, which is expenditures exceeding appropriations. And my only addition is it possible to add town council to the charter where it says make line item transfers? It's at the very end of C533. So the Board of Finance gets notified by the director of finance if there's a line item transfer, but the town council doesn't. So because we follow along with the budget and do all kinds of things since we're the budgetary authority, it would be helpful for us to keep track of things by knowing if there is a line item transfer. So that's just a small addition. Article 6, assessor and assessor procedures. I was just a little bit stymied as to why the thoughts were to lock in the assessor to a 4-year term. It used to read, serve at the pleasure of the first selectman. So if there's a new first selectman or if the assessor is not doing the job that we want them to do, what's the value added by locking them in? That's just a minor comment. Article 7, Board of Ed. So it talks about in C7-1, it says membership powers and duties. It talks about the Board of Ed following the general statutes. And in consultation with some of my council members, but I'll speak for myself, we thought it would be helpful to add policies, regulations, and procedures. We recently had an issue with the Board of Finance and the town council not necessarily knowing about FTEs or full-time equivalent staff members that were added. And there are policies regarding personnel additions and new hires and things like that. So it would just be helpful, I think, to add that. And I wanted to also add, consider requiring a certificate annually that all the Board of Ed bylaws, policies, regulations, and procedures were followed. And if, including a history of the votes that were taken, if the authority is granted to the superintendent versus the Board of Ed or another admin to make decisions regarding budget or hiring of staff.
So, can I ask a question? Kathleen?
Yes, go ahead. Yeah.
So the point there would be that, if I understand it correctly,
Yeah.
the superintendent is sort of the specialist in the education area. And the town council just wants to know that the specialist is saying he's met all the laws and rules and regulations and I mean, is that for the-
That's part of it,
Mhm.
but it's also about the powers of the Board of Ed, so the elected members of the Board of Ed. The power really lies, in my understanding, with them making decisions. So if they decide, they have their policies and procedures, so are the Board of Ed members following that? And if they defer that authority to the superintendent or some other proxy for the superintendent, that's noted in this certificate that we would get saying that they're following their bylaws. So that would be more of an exception, that they would defer to that person, to him, because the Board of Ed is supposed to be the one that makes the decisions.
those were
you
the
know,
2 points.
Yeah, 2
And,
points.
and why can't the town council request that?
They could request it, but we're doing a charter revision, so I figure why not put it into the charter?
I could go on and on about, so, I mean, about that. I mean, where does it start and stop? Is the question.
Well, that's an existential question that I can't answer for you. You guys can
But you're
debate that.
submitting this. for
I'm
us, right?
submitting it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Okay.
You have the language.
We should talk about it.
Yeah, I think so too.
I mean, it's codifying it and it's
Yeah.
just, it's a safeguard for the taxpayer. It's a safeguard that we just have all our Ts crossed and Is dotted in terms of what's happening with the Board of Ed. Are they following their policies and procedures? And if they decide to make an exception, that we would know how that's happening. So, okay, so my last one more thing before I get to parking. Park and Rec, Article 12. There was a, point number F talks about the Park and Rec submitting an annual report to the Board of Selectmen and the Town Council. And I don't remember getting one of those for the past 4 years or 5 years, but I think that is a good idea because I get people asking me in September, well, what's going on with the pickleball courts? What's going on with the tennis courts? I don't know because I haven't heard like what's happening. So I think that would be a good thing to keep in there and start to do because a lot of people, recreate in the town. Next point on Park and Rec is C12.5, method of acquisition of park property. And there was one thing that was added there that said, if the appropriation is greater than or equal to 3 million, town council approval shall be by an affirmative vote of 8 members of the council. So I wasn't clear if that meant if something's under 3 million, if the town council's not voting on it, but according to the charter, my understanding is the town council has to approve all acquisition of property regardless of the price. If it's $1, $5, 3 million, 10 million. So I'm not quite sure if that is, I guess I would say appropriate. I don't know the intent of that, but I think that's
I
something.
think, didn't we say that
We
anything
were
less than
open.
3 million was majority? And
Yeah.
that if it went over 3 million, you needed 8? Was that the purpose of it? Yeah.
Oh, so you mean like
More than
simple
one.
majority
Simple
versus?
Simple
majority, yeah.
majority
Simple majority
versus-
over 3
yeah.
million, it gets to a higher
Okay.
standard.
That might need just some clarity, just because it looks like under 3 million, it's
Yeah, it does
not
look that way.
consistent.
I see what
Do you
you're
get my
saying
point?
now.
Yeah, but thank you.
I thought that's what it was.
Yeah.
but
It was how we wrote it, but now
Yeah.
that she's saying
I
that, I
think, yeah,
can see where,
makes sense.
yeah.
Yeah. Library Board, C21.8, so that's Article 21. So the board was crossed out and it just talked about the library. So and there was a question mark that said, like, we have to vet with legal to see about the board, the town appointing members to the library board, which they're not allowed to do at this point. So I wasn't quite clear why in the town charter, we would put something like, the town will support the operation of a public library for the benefit of residents. The New Canaan Library shall operate as association library, and it goes on. Because this is not the charter for the library, this is the charter for the town. So if they decide to become another library other than association library, I don't think that this should limit their organization or their, what they do. So I'm not quite clear as to why we would change it from just the library board in our charter and how the town interfaces with the library to like the entire library description. So
Oh,
that's,
Go ahead if you want to take this, Todd.
No, I'll
I
let you
think,
do it.
no, we were writing this so that it's included in the charter as a entity.
okay.
Now, if that were to happen, then you'd have to, rediscuss the amount of money that we give to them for benefits and operating expenses every year, which is a considerable amount.
Right.
So we included what we thought was necessary to honor that commitment. But
Oh.
I don't know if there's You want to include more or less?
I just wanted to include the relationship between the town and the library board, which right now there is no,
There are two
Connection.
members for 10 years.
Yeah, the library
serving.
board,
Yeah.
well, no, it's.
From the town.
oh, it's 25.
No, it's 10, we checked. yeah.
Did you check the MOU?
No, but we
That's-
checked, we had them come in and.
Anyway,
Well,
but
that's
it's,
a good point,
so,
maybe,
but
yeah.
that was oversight
yes,
for as long as there was a loan.
yes,
And a little bit beyond, because we said, well, we put $10 million in there, so we ought to have at least somebody there for a while.
right.
So there are two members that are not board, town council members, but are appointed by the town council.
Yes, I know that.
To represent the interest of the town on the library board. So just to clarify that. So the library, yeah, the form in the library is happens to be an association library. That's just the current form. We haven't gotten to this article yet, but I can see where some of your comments you're making are valid comments.
Yeah, I think it does have to be updated with the MOU language that you're talking about, these two appointees from the town council. I don't think that's in it.
I disagree.
It won't be in the charter.
We don't
Yeah.
need that in the
That
charter.
won't be in the charter. It's
But-
something that has to survive 10 years.
So we haven't talked about this, but
Yeah.
we
Yeah,
did get
we
back
did.
from legal that scratched out part, that is still in effect, actually.
Okay.
So I think we have to leave that in, but,
Yeah, because the town has to provide library services.
That's
state
right.
guard.
So this is still under review. We haven't
Okay.
taken it to the.
yeah,
full-
point
Okay,
taken
so,
about.
yeah, my overall comment is just stick to the relationship, the legal relationship between the library and the town, which is that we do or do not appoint people to the board, but don't go into a description of the library organization because it's their purview. Okay, my last part is about the parking commission. So I learned a lot about the parking commission because you may all have seen that we received a letter from the merchants with about 25 merchants signing a letter, and there's been a lot of comments about parking and things like that. So I did get the language from Mr. Case about what is being proposed. And so I'm here to really make a case for sticking with maybe not exactly what's in the charter that exists now, but maybe updating the language, but keeping the safeguards in place that are a little bit more stringent than I think what is now being considered. So let me just go into a little bit of why, and then I'll be done. Okay, so the existing charter provisions governing the parking commission are not merely advisory. They establish a required process for how parking policy is developed and implemented. Those provisions contemplate parking commission review and recommendation, police commission involvement for on-street parking and traffic circulation, a structured approach to planning and implementation, supporting ordinances where required for enforcement and fees, and appropriate ordinance authority has to be clearly established. Following the charter for the parking commission is not optional. It is the mechanism that gives these decisions legitimacy. That is exactly why the parking commission's duties must remain robust. The commission is not just advisory in spirit, it is a safeguard. Its role ensures that parking changes are vetted publicly, coordinated across agencies, and grounded in a transparent process. When those steps are skipped, the result is confusion, frustration, and a loss of trust in local government. Weakening or simplifying the commission's responsibilities now would make it easier for future decisions to bypass proper review. Instead, this moment highlights the need to preserve and clearly enforce a strong structured role for the parking commission so that significant changes to our downtown are thoughtful, lawful, and publicly accountable. So right now, the current language has guardrails on it for land. I basically consider it land use. I mean, we're talking about Elm Street, Main Street. I mean, this is the land that the people basically own, the town owns. And what the parking commission requires now is a multi-step review. The parking commission has to make a recommendation for any changes in parking on or off street. The Board of Selectmen looks at those recommendations. Then it goes to the police commission. They handle on-street parking rules. It could go to the planning and zoning commission if it involves a systemic plan. So the way the ordinance is written now, it prevents one office from acting unilaterally. And that just increases public visibility because people see it noticed in meetings and they can go to those meetings, long-term thinking and documentation of all these recommendations. The parking commission also has explicit authority for charging fees putting meters in, and again, back to land use. And this should all tie into ordinances that exist, and also the financial handling of the finances. The concentration of power within the old framework, without the old framework, the first selectman and the town officers can effectively bypass parking commission, police commission, and planning and zoning. The old language, or the current language that exists, specifically prevents the concentration in one office. It would provide transparency to keep it the way it is. If it's followed, coordination across commissions, it ensures public-facing decisions go through a process, and it reduces the chance of legally questionable actions. The current verbiage has language that says not one person can make a change, not without process, and not without multiple bodies weighing in. So to me, the best path forward is to keep the core procedural protections, but modernize the language. Specifically preserve that the parking commission is required to make recommendations and review, that the police commission has a role in on-street parking determinations, that there's required ordinances in place before the parking commission makes a recommendation. And okay, so I wrote up a sample for Article 13 that I can hand in with my comments that basically takes into regard like the old language, but also brings up my points, but modernizes the language. And I just think makes it robust, which it needs to be. So.
Great.
Can I ask a question? So, interesting points, but why do they need to be in the charter in your view rather than in an ordinance?
Well, right now there is there's only one ordinance that the town council has for parking, and it doesn't necessarily spell out what the parking commission's duties are. It just talks about certain areas of town and lots and things like that. But this clearly codifies that the parking commission, all recommendations initiate with them and has to go forward. It's not in another office. It has to come from them, then it has to go to the police commission. The ordinance doesn't say that. And I don't know why we would take it out if it's already there. You know, like what would be the purpose of taking it out?
Isn't that perhaps the problem, that there isn't an ordinance addressing this particular issue, and that there should be?
Well, I mean, that's a legal question. To me, the charter has the language, and it's better to leave it in there, have it codified. Ordinances are more like, you know, if you want to talk about a certain street or a certain parking lot. I mean, right now there is no ordinance for metered parking on Elm Street. So, I mean, if the parking commission charter revision, well, the parking commission statutes were followed, we may not be in that position because they wouldn't have been able to put it there if there's no ordinance. So it's like, what comes first, the chicken or the egg? Why not keep the structure? Just like there is for every commission. Why not take out the HHS and make that an ordinance? Why not take out the audit committee, make that an ordinance? Take the ethics board, make that an ordinance. You're putting a lot of work on us, and we have a lot of work to do anyway. And this is the focus of this committee. So I don't see any reason to make it an ordinance other than if an ordinance is needed in the future to talk about a specific area of town. That's to me where the ordinance comes in place.
Steve, did you have a question?
No, I was just going to say, I hear you. And I think this is the bag. Where does the responsibility lie? A lot of as we reviewed the parking ordinances, a lot of them date back to the mid-60s. And they really haven't been updated, and they were outdated. And this is written more in the way the parking commission is acting and has acted over the past several years. And that's the way we tried to revise their way of appeal, of have it being an appeal body.
Yeah.
And then recommendations to the town, to the town selectmen as to the policies that should be followed, but not having a approval policy with respect to the various parking issues that we brought out. So
Yeah,
where should it lie? Where should the responsibility lie?
we look back at the minutes from 2019, which was after the charter revision, and there were recommendations to put parking on Elm Street, metered parking, and it was rejected by the police commission. So to me, just because it hasn't been followed doesn't mean that the language should be updated, and there should be a derivative that's a lot less stringent, I mean, to me, then there's something wrong with why isn't it being followed, right? Because right now we've got a lot of upset people, merchants that are upset. We have no ordinance that actually allows the parking on Elm Street. And I haven't seen a recommendation from the parking commission. I haven't seen the police commission taking it up. I mean, and so to me, we're in kind of a tough situation. So to then change the language to enable, the public being, cut out of the process really is, to me, not good governance.
Why wasn't this mentioned in the budget process last year if there was a referral and the police commission turned it down? Why didn't we, the public, know that?
Well, that was 2019.
Oh, this is 19,
Do
not
that,
the
but
one last year.
The
Okay.
recent one, that is a great question. Yes.
For discussion further when we take up the parking. We haven't taken up that section,
Yes.
but you've given us great food for thought. So
Okay.
Thank you for that.
I have a question.
Yes.
The parking authority, who's the actual parking
Department.
department,
Right.
do you believe they should report to the parking commission? How would that work?
Yeah, I mean, that's a great
'Cause they're
question.
just sort of hands on the ground, right?
I mean, to me, they're more the enforcement, so they're more like personnel for the town.
Yeah.
So that to me seems like the human resources, and if the first selectman manages employees, they're really just an arm of like what the parking commission recommended. The parking commission is really more for land use. How are we going to use our land? Are we going to make people park? We already pay taxes for property and cars. Do we now have to pay to park? I mean, that's a question that the public needs to weigh in on, and it's not one office or one part of government that should be able to make that decision, in my opinion.
Okay, thank
And right
you.
now, the selectman makes that decision? No. Who?
Not according to the parking commission as it's written.
No.
Who has a jurisdiction, the police over parking?
No, only
Are they
on
equal?
street.
I don't even know why the police have mentioned, because the police don't even give tickets out on parking, it's not in their contract. I don't even know why they're
Well,
not.
Okay, guys,
the
you know,
charter says
let's-
somewhere the police have
It's
to
part of
own
this
on-street
It is,
parking.
but we
Oh, yeah,
should be
I
talking
know.
about it and when we come to the parking commission itself and the police and so forth. So a lot.
Well, it mentions the police commission is going to be involved to talk about traffic circulation.
It's the police commission.
Yes, the police commission, not
correct.
the actual police.
Correct.
Correct.
Thank you, Kim. Does anybody else have anything else for Kim?
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we have one other person that, anybody, two, okay, great. Anybody else? And we have, Sarah, you're gonna be, okay, we'll do you after, Christina, if that's okay. Okay.
Okay,
well,
welcome.
Hi, Christina
Hi.
Ross, Town Council, but I'm speaking on my own behalf. I just want to pass this around.
Thank you.
Anyway, what I have is a plethora of information regarding the parking commission, which I never thought I would need. And the discovery has been monumental because it ties into something that's really essential in our town, and that's the organizational framework, and I'll explain. The Parking Commission, as a municipality, is in the Connecticut General Statutes 7-204A and 7-204W. These statutes create a quasi-independent municipal authority with broad operational and financial control over parking systems. That also includes, it's a quasi-independent municipality. They could have their own independent budget. They can spend, they can buy land. It's much bigger than what we are actually applying it for. This is not a small commission, and they don't just regulate. They really thought out the way in which the town works, and they work with a large enough commission that they have public hearings and the public can hear what they're planning. Hasn't been any plans coming out of the Parking Commission regarding the parking meters in Elm and Maine. And that is a complexity unto itself, which confuses one because it comes out of the Board of Selectmen's office and not out of the Parking Commission, which runs contrary to the statutes. So when I was looking at this, I realized that there are three branches of government, And why is it that we need an organizational framework? And that is because there's a confusion even within the offices as to what the responsibility that each one of them carries. And I think it's essential in the charter, not in an ordinance by itself, to define where those parameters are, where the bumpers are, where they have to leave the responsibility and pass it on to another body. And the legislative body is basically all those elected offices that we have, with the exception of the Board of Finance in the list on the left column. And the executive branch is in the middle, and it has to be independent from the legislative branch, because otherwise you have no checks and balances. And then the strange factor in this, the quasi-judicial, is the independent boards and commissions that really have a dual role of reporting both to the state and to the town. And that would be the planning and zoning, ZBA, wetlands, and
Can I just ask one, I'm sorry to interrupt. Is there any way you could tell us what your recommendation is first, so I understand where we're going with it? 'Cause
my
I want to know what the punchline is, so I can understand your thought process and how we get there as a group.
My thought process is that there has to be a clear definition of who reports to who and the description on what the role is for that office. And
For the office or the commission?
for the office, for the commission, for whoever it might be, it has to be clear enough that a situation such as the parking that just happened, that never happens again.
Okay.
And it just doesn't exist. And
So-
I think that it's not by design, it's really human error, where nobody really knew where it starts and where it ends. And you have to, in the charter, put it in. Why the charter? And you brought up the issue is, when do you stop? How much do you put in? You put in those things that regardless of who's in office, this is what the town mandate is, how it's supposed to work going forward. It's not about party, it's not about individual, it's about how the town maintains its checks and balances going forward. Another thing,
Specific section that you have recommendation for, a specific recommendation for a specific chapter or
Within the
area?
charter, like section 1319, like where it fits in, right? Have you
And if you
looked
don't
I
have
can,
that granular.
I can provide it via email to
at
the
it? That would be
commission.
helpful. Yep.
The 712-14 is the state statute.
Yes,
Yeah.
And what have you referenced to in that, in your comments for us?
well, I'm referencing, I don't want to go into the whole thing.
No, but I
because-
mean, the specifics that we have either aired or not included or should revise.
Well, you're talking about revising the parking commission and reducing it to basically a footnote of what it's supposed to do, and you want to leave it to the ordinance, and that would be a huge mistake.
And so you know that
Because the charter cannot be changed except for every 10 years, regardless who's in office.
the larger group hasn't met on that, just so you know.
No, we
So
don't- we
only the
haven't
subgroup
reviewed
is talked
this
about, we
yet.
haven't even gotten to parking. yet,
Okay.
so.
But,
This is timely though, because we haven't gotten to it
It's
yet.
timely because we're going to be reviewing.
but the organizational meeting relates to what happened in the parking that should be used as an example going forward, to not let it
Can
happen
I ask
again.
you, would this also pertain to like restaurants using parking spaces? Is that all part, everything?
Everything,
Okay.
everything.
Question, do you believe that the parking lots are sort of managed by the parking commission?
Yes, they are. That's their
That's
purview.
their purview. So if someone were to build on top of them, they would need to go talk to the parking lot.
They would be the ones initiating it and calling upon the Board of Selectmen and the Department of Public Works to study with them the project that they're envisioning.
Or a project that might impact their parking lot.
Exactly.
Got it.
But when you take the parking lots and you see the Affordable Housing Committee planning to take on a parking lot to turn it into affordable housing, who has had those discussions to see the impact townwide to what it would cost to the residents? It's very short-sighted. So the other thing is, I just learned that meaning the commission was considering putting a base of $3 million on having, regarding the sale, lease, and transfer of municipal property. And that would not work because the Connecticut General Statutes are clear that you cannot bypass any of the base statutes that they have. Now, you could turn it around and say anything above $3 million would require a referendum, would require 2 public hearings instead of 1.
Just discussed that.
We just
previous
discussed
testimony,
it,
and
yeah.
I think it needs to be restructured, but what it is saying is it's actually a higher bar. So if you get to 3 million, you
You
now
need
have to have not a
supermajority.
simple majority, a bigger.
Okay, but it's not like you're eliminating the process of the
No.
legislative body.
We're adding,
Just make it
Okay.
a supermajority.
yeah, we're adding a supermajority.
Okay,
Make it more
And
stringent.
the 3 million was not in stone. That was to be discussed. That was just a
Okay.
starting.
Do you have an opinion on the value number that you would like to see
For a supermajority,
for
not.
a supermajority? So if they had 3 million, I'm just curious your opinion.
That was starting.
Well, she hasn't thought about it yet.
I think that when it comes to municipal property, and I'll give you as an example, when we look at the Vine Cottage, it's critical that the location, the proximity to town hall, that is just as important as the lot as big as the police station. So you can't put a number.
750?
Yeah.
A long time ago, yeah.
Guys, let's
Yeah.
get to the, just the
Okay.
charter stuff. Go ahead.
Good point.
But that's good.
So
750?
the next thing is,
It was a long
it's
time
not
ago.
just the purchase, sale, and lease of property, but also the demolition of property. And the
No, we-
demolition of
that's a separate
property.
Section. We haven't reviewed
Yes.
it yet, but we have.
But the
that.
demolition of property also has a section in in the statutes. And that has come too close to call too many times. And I think that we need to look at it and make sure that in the charter, it's put in as to what the process is so the public can have a voice. Some people have interpreted that because you're knocking it down, that it's not important, that it's just the first selectman that makes that decision. We lost the barn on Richmond Hill, and we almost lost the Outback a few years back because somebody wanted to turn it into parking spaces. And those are the things that should be intolerable.
No, we had separate section. Where the heck is it? I can't even remember.
We'll come back to that, but
We'll
thank
come back.
you.
We haven't gone through it yet.
What do you think about transfer of property?
We were including.
Transfer is included in the
Yeah.
statutes for
Yeah.
the
It's
purchase
included in the
lease.
statute?
Yeah,
Yeah.
look that up. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank
This
you.
is yours,
Christine.
too.
You're welcome.
And you'll send
Oh,
that
no, you- okay.
electronically to us?
Yes.
So we can post it. Yeah, okay, great. Thank you. I promised, Sarah Pierce. Yeah, Sarah, you're up next. Go ahead.
Thank you. Sorry, I have like a hard stop childcare issue, so I'm
I figured, yeah.
running out the door. So I just wanted to weigh in really, first of all, thank you guys. This has been such a heavy lift and you guys have worked really hard. So thank you so much. I just wanted to weigh in on a couple of things and sort of, it's been a while since the original public comment. So just to like throw it on everyone's radar. As you guys consider the P&Z issue, you know, as you continue to consider it, it would be helpful if you cited to the record what is informing your decisions, because I've spent a lot of time in the record. Most of the letters and comment in support of keeping P&Z appointed is by people who are on the commission, related to those on the commission, former commission members, but members of the public who have come in and spoken. It's been for elected, so it would be helpful to put that forward. On that issue, I know that term limits have been discussed and changing the process for how members are appointed. And I just wanted to make totally clear that actually none of the public comment in the St. Luke's case, at least, and I know, you know, we have no problem with how people are appointed. There's really been no complaint there. I think the relevant question is, how do you reorient the system to elevate the voter and the taxpayer against sort of amorphous, you know, non-tax-paying entities or sort of a very generalized community good? To that point, there are 2 letters in the record that I just wanted to draw attention to from a Frangione and a David Rucci, who are totally well respected, and you know, there's nothing about them, but I did want to draw attention to the content of their letters, which is both of these individuals, they can work for clients outside of New Canaan. So for the Frangione letter, he actually speaks specifically to P&Z's legislative capacity. He's like, if you don't like a regulation, P&Z will change it. And he's absolutely right. He's 100% right. He's actually making my point, which is You don't have to be a resident of New Canaan to hire a civil engineer who could put forward an application that changes the regulations. And so almost everywhere else, Darien, Greenwich, somewhere, when you are changing a regulation, at some point in the process, you would have to directly encounter an elected official. So I wanted to draw that to your attention. And the second was in David Rucci's letter, he speaks about how appointed commissions work well with town staff. And I obviously admire the spirit of that, but it's also important to note that one criticism of New Canaan's system is that unlike other towns that are slightly larger, the commission staff that's advising on applications is also advising the commission on the applications. So sort of a rough analogy would be like somebody's helping you tutor or study for a test is also the person grading that test. So it's a conflict or sort of a double up. And then it's true, appointed commission members have good relationships with staff, but that's partly because the nature of an appointed commission would be to provide oversight to staff. And so that's a feature, not a bug. And I think everything should be civil, and it is where there are elected commissions, but I just wanted to draw that to everyone's attention. And then the last thing was there are some ways that I hope that, you know, the commission is still looking at regulating P&Zs, specifically their legislative capacity. So there's been a lot of talk about, you know, that they're just sort of adjunctive or they're ruling on hearings, but I would hope that the commission fully considers the ability that they can write legislation or they're writing law. So those are my points. Thank you so much.
Could you elaborate on the last point about,
Yeah.
the very last point you made about?
So the legislative capacity? Yeah, so that's actually also conspicuously absent from the several letters that you guys got from P&Z. A careful read of those says they don't mention the fact that they have enormous legislative capacity. And when they are working in their legislative capacity, they can do whatever they want. And it's unfortunate.
Give me an example, maybe not personal, but what, make one up.
So for example, coverage limits, they can rezone. They can say, okay, you bought a house in a residential zone, but you know, part of this application requires your neighbor to be zoned this way. So now we're going to rezone. New Canaan is probably the only town in Fairfield where you can rezone without having it go through an elected official. Also, I mean, this is obviously, I'm very familiar with it because it's our case, but like, you know, the St. Luke's garage required basically no coverage limits. Like, they basically kind of wrote their own check there specific to the application, which is how most land use in this town goes, which is the applications are designing the town, as opposed to if we were to have elections every 4 years, we would all kind of come out and talk publicly about what we want and what we want to see. Instead, at this moment, applicants we're putting it together in a piecemeal capacity. And per Frangione's letter, they act in their legislative capacity all the time. Sometimes it's totally minor and kind of around the edges. And then other times in our case, it's a huge change to the regulation.
Thank you.
Thank you. Just a question, and actually I'm looking to my colleagues. Isn't there a big process going on right now with P&Z is going through all the zoning regulations with
correct
hearings and so forth? I mean,
so they can take public comment, but those regulations don't have to go through anybody. They don't have to go through the selectmen. They don't have to get voted on by anyone else.
But they could be part of the process.
Well, sure, but that's been the main complaint about P&Z is like, you can go waste your time and give your comment to P&Z, but I think most people realize, you know, the comment is perfunctory. It's almost like theater. It's not, if there's no elected capacity towards accountability, the comment only makes it in if the commissioners are interested in, you know, taking it. But for our regulations rewrite at the moment is a perfect example of how these regulations are going to get put in. They don't have to go through the town selectmen or anyone to before they become law.
They're saying on the 21st, I know P&Z has a session where they're going to be gathering input. they're gonna have breakout groups that you can provide input to the breakout groups, but they don't necessarily have to weigh it in, or they necessarily have to build it into the process if they don't agree with it, right? And there's no
I mean,
check.
they've got like, you know, they have trials in Russia and they go through the process. That's sort of.
Let's wrap this up. Chris, you had something? Sorry. Okay, thank you very much. Thank you. Sorry.
I think it might be helpful to understand. It might be helpful to reiterate and to understand where and how planning and zoning has its legislative authority. From where did that derive? Who gave P and Z that authority? Let's understand that.
They
I
absolutely.
want to refresh that.
Eric,
They have legislative authority. From whom was that legislative authority derived? How did P and Z get that? Why do they have it? How's that established?
Connecticut State Statutes 1935. Yeah, Kim, thank you. So you have to read draft number 9 for that detail. You'll find that. Yes.
Yeah, so, I mean, my understanding is the Plan of Conservation and Development is what gives the Planning and Zoning Commission the guardrails. That's their legislative authority. And in keeping with what Ms. Pierce is saying, the town council, just an example is the town council went over the POCD and we made certain recommendations. And the planning and zoning did listen to us and they could take our recommendations, but they rejected all of them. So they didn't take our recommendations. So that's just an example following up with what Ms. Pierce is saying. So I believe the legislative authority is in the POCD, which allows them to change all the zoning, which is what they're doing now, because that was in the POCD. Yeah. And that's done every 10 years.
That doesn't have, after they make a recommendation, that doesn't have to be voted on by the electors.
No. After the planning and zoning or after the town council
After
makes?
the P and Z makes a recommendation.
Oh.
Whatever the change is, it becomes law at that point?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. I mean, but there is.
Is there anybody does the town council have to vote on it?
No, I mean, there's
The
these.
electorate doesn't have to vote on it?
No, there's focus groups and surveys and things like that. But there's no requirement to take those comments and the town council doesn't get involved other than we commented on the POCD, but our recommendations were rejected to be included in the POCD.
Ross.
I would just ask after public session, we get our council's read on this as well, because we've gotten a lot of talk about where authority is derived from, and I'd like to hear that from an attorney.
Sure. Well, he's on board
He's
there
on.
and, but let's
When
get
we're
through.
done here.
Does Sarah have anything more to finish?
Nope, I have to run. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you, Sarah. Thank you. Appreciate it. Was there anybody else online that, go ahead, Maria. Come on up, Maria. I just want to see if there's anybody else who wants to participate, who's actually dialed in. Hearing none. Over to you, Maria. Welcome.
I'm Maria Naughton. I'm on the town council, but speaking as a member, but not for the town council, former Board of Ed member. I have comments about 3 proposed revisions.
Okay.
The first one is the Board of Education. I want to comment that in the section chapter 7-1, under membership powers and duties, the commission has added a phrase that the Board of Ed must follow their bylaws. I think you should add the Board of Ed policies and bylaws rather than just bylaws. So it should read, in my opinion, membership powers and duties, the Board of Education consisting of 9 members shall continue to exercise all the powers and perform all the duties conferred or imposed upon boards of ed in towns by the general statutes, the Board of Education policies, and their bylaws. Suggestion number 1. Suggestion number 2, for a greater level of oversight, the Board of Ed should be required to submit an annual certificate of compliance signed by the Board of Ed to ensure their compliance with those statutes, policies, and bylaws. In the recent past, there have been situations where the Board of Ed has been found to not be following state statute. One was a recent Freedom of Information ruling last October that the district was holding state-mandated curriculum committee meetings in violation of FOIA. The Board of Ed was ordered to operate in compliance and hold those meetings in public. However, this came after spending a considerable amount to defend those 9 non-compliant actions. The second one, the recent discovery of Board of Ed staff hired outside of the approved budget process over the last 5 years denied the town bodies the ability to factor in the implications of those additional hires on the overall financial outlook of the town. The hiring was not in compliance with state statute and several of the Board of Ed's own policies. Lastly, despite spending $200,000 on textbooks annually, the law is very specific. It requires public involvement and a 2/3 vote to adopt. That is also not being followed. As we know, the Board of Ed is a creature of the state, so there's a lot of stuff the town cannot tell them what to do. Local municipalities are limited in their ability to impose requirements on the Board of Ed. However, we can hold the district accountable to those policies and statutes. We can use the State Board of Ed to do that, but that would be timely and expensive, and it would just look bad. So a local solution, having an annual certificate of compliance submitted by the Board of Ed would provide a level of assurance that policies, bylaws, and state statutes are understood and are being followed. In addition, it would allow for greater accountability and transparency of the education process in town.
That's the same certificate that,
Correct.
Kim
But
was speaking
the
to.
why of this is that the town really has no control over what a Board of Ed does. We can only ask them to report, but it should be built into the charter as, as-
And is there a certificate of compliance at the state level now, statutes? No.
no, not that I know of. Go ahead.
Yes.
And presumably, filing a false compliance statement would be subject to penalties.
You hit it exactly what I was gonna ask.
Right? I
What's
mean,
the
what's,
next step?
what's the next
what's
step?
the risk?
Figures on
I
the
mean,
bottom.
it's one thing to say, yeah, we're all for it, we've done everything. Now it turns out, oh my God, you guys hired 32 other people in the last 5 years. Then
Well,
tell us about it.
I mean, like many of the charter regulations, there is that concept of what then? If you're not following it, what is the outcome? I mean, you could build in something to the ethics section of the charter that, results in a complaint. I mean, at the state board of level, at the state education level, what the result is they get told you have to follow the rules.
That's right.
So,
Yeah.
Who's does the certificate of compliance?
I think it should be the Board of Ed because they're the
Every
ones.
person or just the chairperson? Like, let's say there's a disagreement on something like that. Is it, I'm just trying to figure out.
Logistically.
Yeah,
Oh,
logistics.
well,
on it.
actually, yes, I think they should vote on it.
Yeah.
I think it should be part of the
Right?
budget.
The
This
vote?
budget was developed in accordance with state statutes.
Yeah, they'll file it along with their budget request.
Right.
And then
Yep.
you'd have a vote on it. I got it.
Okay, Joe Palo.
Some towns do have enforcement provisions in their charter. So we have the option to create an enforcement provision in the charter. And some towns actually name the actual government official that enforces it and how much the fines are per day. I have some information.
So
for that.
how would that work? That who would get fined? Like, who would pay the fine if there was a violation? How does that work?
Every town is different. There are
Okay.
different ones, but in some towns, it's the first selectman, in some towns, it's the town council, in some towns, it's dollars per day. There are enforcement provisions.
Like blight, you're paying.
Okay,
Fine.
Bill, and then Maria, have you wrapped up or you
No,
have more
I
to
had two
do?
more
Okay,
points.
well, Bill, and then.
No, I was gonna
back to
say if
Maria.
it was sort of an out of state, just an oversight, there probably wouldn't be a fine, but if it's
Right.
a conscious decision not to do A, B, and C, and the Board of Ed would not say they didn't do it if it was they would report it correctly, so there's no one.
Right, and it's similar to the Freedom of Information Commission. They can levy fines as well, but they don't often do that. They just tell you.
Yeah.
It's just, do what you're supposed to.
Yeah.
But if the Board of Ed, like the Board of Finance, when we sign off at the end of the budget cycle, what, would they all sign such a
I think a vote would,
That's what I was asking, yeah.
vote, or they sign? Because legally, a vote is just rendered as a vote, and it's not
well, just like
specific
the,
to a.
just like the superintendent
remedy.
contract, like the chair would
Yeah.
ultimately sign, but it's like, for the superintendent, the board would vote to give them the authority to sign.
Okay.
That's what I was thinking.
Those
Yeah.
details
That
and
piece.
nuances we
Yeah.
can decide later,
Yeah.
but did you, Steve? And then
Well,
we're
I
gonna
was
let
just gonna
Maria finish.
ask Kind of this, is this something that has to reside in the charter, or can the town council require that?
I
statement?
think, well, I mean, that's a good point, but as a 10-year test case, I would be that burdensome, and it would set the framework for the town related to education. Because right now, there's very little there. It's basically, go see the state. It should just say, go see the state.
Right.
But I think it would be a level of internal control locally.
And I think his point is valid, and don't ever underestimate your ability to do things right now as town council and drive these changes right now that aren't locked in for 10 years, so you can adjust it as seen. So these are things that, I think there's a lot of discussions we've had that I think make sense that they should be done as ordinances.
Why don't you
We're so
continue
backed up
your-
on
and-
ordinances, you guys are.
Yeah, I
gonna
mean, I feel
kill
like
us.
it's more of a structural, it's like the building code, the building code for the Board of Ed.
Okay.
Um,
And you'll submit these also.
yeah, I
okay,
made
thank you.
marks on this.
Any
I'll send you.
Specific compliance that you felt was not adhered to, was this the one last year? With
Well, having to
hiring?
go to the Freedom of Information Commission to
Well,
to
that
have
was
them.
the one
that
from
was one
18,
thing.
right? Or 19?
Yeah,
Yeah, I read it.
2020.
All right,
Yeah,
let's-
yeah,
But I'm
let her
just trying to
finish.
figure,
Yep,
well, I'm trying to
yep.
figure out.
There are
issues.
definitely
Okay.
examples.
Yeah.
Now I had comments on the parking commission. I know you haven't
Wow.
addressed that.
Steve,
Well,
you
it's
didn't know when
because
you
it's
picked
come
this
up
up as your-
recently.
Okay.
So my recommendation, I recommend keeping the enumerated responsibilities of the parking commission and not diluting their role to more of a an advisory role. And in turn, centralizing decision-making. The statute spells what the parking commission can do. And in New Canaan, that work has been done by our parking commission with the police commission. And it serves the purposes outlined in the state. They're very proactive. They get feedback from the public. I think their role is one of seeing all the implications of when there's a meter that comes in or where someone's getting parking tickets. They take a big view of the situation. So the 1 through 8 that exists now, I think they're a very clear example of how it should operate. And I actually did find the example in 2019 where there was a recommendation to put meters on Main and Elm. And the parking commission recommended it to the next level, which I believe is the police commission. I think it's because it involves fees and meters.
And on street.
And on street.
Yeah.
And then it was denied with feedback. So it had that process. And I think I haven't seen evidence of that in this recent example of the meters going on Elm, nor have I seen it with Maine.
So my question would be, I don't think that the current parking commission thinks that it's doing any of this. And that's why it's raised the question of why is it in the charter? I think it's dangerous to have things in the charter that government bodies are not doing.
I think in their defense, I believe it's a newer commission, but I don't think they understood the level of the response. And this happens on boards when there's turnover. And that actually will lead into my third point.
Like them or not, we passed them.
When you had Keith Rich in charge.
So, I mean, recently, we know there was an article in the paper, there are a lot of unhappy merchants, there are a lot of unhappy citizens, and having no evidence that this went through that process, this is just an example of what could happen. I mean, parking meters could show up anywhere. So I think just because we didn't follow the process for this situation, we know what the process should be. And I think really, if we keep the language in the parking commission the way it has been done historically, that is better for the town overall. I respectfully urge you to retain a very clear set of those steps and don't make it advisory. Don't turn the shalls into mays, because mays don't always happen and shalls are definitive. But that leads into my third point, which is really important. And I do believe this belongs in the charter. I would like to make a recommendation regarding knowledge and awareness of charter prescribed roles as they relate to individuals serving on town commissions, board, and councils. I believe all newly elected or appointed commission, board, and council members should go through an orientation process where they are directed to fully understand their obligations and duties in their new roles. At the time of swearing in, we all received a copy of the charter, which is it's valuable, but it would be better to have all members receive some type of orientation to become familiar with the duties and obligations. In practical terms, this might look like a workshop offered a few times a year, or even with some planning, we could create some pre-recorded learning opportunity for every board and council and commission. You know, it's so important to look at the charter and see how this relates to you and how it relates, not necessarily in your section, but there are overlaps where it's connected. So I don't know, I know that may end up being a budgetary thing, but I think that would be really
If there's
important.
any, like they have for lawyers or accounts continuing education that could fulfill that role where we can outsource it, that it already exists?
You know, that's a good point. Like there's the Connecticut Association for Boards of Ed, and they do that for Boards of Ed.
Because that's a great idea.
And we used to do it on the Board of Ed. It was an orientation. It was really, maybe the attorneys would come in and point to the section of the document, and you would really understand, you know, what may and what shall means in your
Realtors
duty.
have it.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of
Yeah.
that educational
Well,
process.
we do
that's
do
up there.
FOIA education.
Right, yeah.
obviously,
Yeah,
For,
right,
yeah,
yeah.
but yeah, no, great points.
Yeah,
I
Thank
think
you.
it's a
Yeah,
sustainable
yeah.
kind of.
very good. Okay, yes, Bill.
None of the council members mentioned anything about not having staff or lack of staff. You don't have any staff.
No, staff on the town.
Well, I mean, it's like you have to do everything yourself.
Yeah, yeah.
Or I guess rely on the town employee, who knows? But is that, I mean,
We'll do like
Is that an issue,
example.
or is that a
do a-
problem, or maybe it's not?
I
You
don't
have
think
to
so.
say.
I mean, to be honest, like you know, when people ask me why I run for things, I said it's better than yelling at the TV. I mean, we get a seat at the table, we get to have a say. So it's just the time in our life when we feel we can do this, and we give the time that we need to. So,
Thank you very much.
You're
Yeah, if
welcome.
you'd be kind enough to send us the.
I will.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Okay, who else? I think we asked you to change that time. Sorry about that. Who else from the audience would like to say anything during this
I
public
do know what
hearing?
30 minutes means from you these days.
Yeah, we know. Anybody else? Last and final? Okay. Well, first of all, I want to send our thanks to everybody who did offer their comments, really helpful. And it has been a while since that very first meeting that we had, so a lot has taken place. And we encourage you to follow. We're going to be issuing version 10 this week on the draft report. And so we'll have a couple of more goes at this, and including some of the very areas that you raised we haven't even gotten to yet. So thank you very much for that. And we're going to adjourn the public hearing. Can I have a motion to adjourn the public hearing? We're going to
Second.
second, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, thanks. We're going to continue on. Our meeting is, did we have to do everything all over again here? Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
And very mindful of time
No,
here.
because you're still in the same meeting.
We're still saying we don't have to do anything. Okay, great. Everybody's still here.
What you
Okay.
do have to do is go the article back to Article 3.
I beg your pardon?
Article 3 is. where
Yeah,
we stop.
Article 3 is where we stopped, and we were very close to finishing Article 3, right?
So we have definitely one subject. For us to get Nick's input on something.
Yeah. Nick, hi, thank you so
please,
much for
yes.
being here. We've got a couple of legal items that we wanted to address. And before you checked out, I don't know if you have a time cap, but we've got a couple things we want to cover too, but.
No, I was just trying to.
One
get-
second, Nick, we can't hear you. You're on mute, Nick. We can't hear anything you're saying.
Can you just say hello?
No,
Where do you need to
we're
use-
not connected.
Take him off the mute there?
No, it's not muted on his end. It's
No.
not showing mute. There it is. Now it's muted. Now it's unmuted.
Now
Okay,
talk.
go ahead, speak.
Is our speaker on? Was, because.
I'm wondering.
when Sarah.
Yeah, Sarah's on.
You're good at this.
Well, you know what? We can ask Nick to process what
Go ahead,
As far
just,
as
yeah,
public
he can hear
testimony.
us, right? Nick, you can hear us?
Nod, that you understand us.
That you agree with us.
One for yes, two for
All
no.
right, let's tackle section C28, removal from office. And this is language that was added, actually came from, portion of it came from the Westport charter. And it's following up on a recommendation that someone made that the charter has removal from office for appointed positions, but not for elected positions. And so there is a proposed language on page 16 of the draft 9 that will let you read, but what was the legal? Obviously, we wanted him to verify, but
So there
go
were
ahead.
two halves. It was,
Yeah.
so, for Nick, and check that you have it connected to the right microphone, Nick, hit the little caret next to the mic.
You are on mute now. There you go. Go ahead.
We
I
can
can
turn
hear
it
you
up.
very,
You're
very
super
lightly.
quiet.
I did hear something.
Volume
It's
is
not,
down.
it's
His
not
volume.
my computer.
Yeah,
You were
keep turning up the
So we have
volume.
this turned up all the way, so I just gotta
Oh.
remember to turn
Go
it
ahead.
down. for the next
Go
person.
ahead.
Okay, it must be on my end then.
It is.
Yeah.
We got
Go
it
ahead.
now.
We got you.
You can hear me okay now?
Yes, yes.
Okay,
Keep talking.
excellent. Hi, everyone. Sorry about that.
Okay,
Yeah,
keep
I'm here
going.
for a little while at least still. So I can try to answer what I can now and then take down whatever I can't.
Didn't even touch it. All right, so Nick, the question that was posited was under the section which was regarding removal. There had been back and forth discussion on removal from office for appointed individuals. And Westport was brought up, or elected, sorry. I said appointed.
Recall.
Recall.
No, it's
So
a
the
recall.
question became removal/recall, and in particular recall. There is a limited number of towns, we 5, I think we said, that we are aware of that have that. And what the case law looks like, the legality of it, because one of the things that was brought up in public testimony from a member of the public was that there is no mechanism for elected individuals, should they, and I think it was in particular, the discussion revolved around malfeasance or felonies or whatever else. There's no mechanism to remove them. Is there such a thing in state law that already captured this? Is it something we should consider?
Well, I think also, can I just add, there's two things. There was the removal discussion, right? So they've broken the law, we remove them, right? That's no recall. Recall was a petitioner-driven event
Yeah.
where
Right.
someone wants them removed for basis of X, like who knows, right? So those are sort of two different sort of mechanisms there.
So let's talk about the first, Nick.
Well, I could probably talk about them both. I'm not sure there's a clear express statutory mechanism absent a charter provision. I'm not sure what all of the 5 apparently towns that have this sort of language in their charter. I mean, do we know how that language compares? Did they all copy each other, or do they all have their own version?
They're slightly different, but it's only solely for recall, not removal from malfeasance, et cetera. It's the process is not always similar. So 60 days here, 2 days here, what percentage of elector, but it's essentially driven by someone puts together a petition, they get the votes, they get the signatures, excuse me, the clerk validates them. And then the mechanics sometimes slightly vary.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, really, and well, that speaks to the fact that there isn't any real guiding principles to go off of, and these are a creature of each of the home rule charters. So, I mean, you gave the Westport example. I mean, I haven't seen that implemented in my 8-9 years representing the town of Westport. But it does exist in their charter. And I mean, for the Westport example, at least, as I'm sure you guys have discussed, is yes, an elected officer may be removed for failing to perform duties of the office. So that's nonfeasance. For performing the duties improperly, for misfeasance, for doing things illegal while in office, so malfeasance. But those are the real points, and those are all built in under at least Westport's charter. So, I mean, you can build a process into the charter. Do we have examples of how, it really can work and work well and efficiently? I mean, off the top of my head, I don't for Westport. If that's what the question is, I could see if I can look into that and give some more input. But I mean, I heard the question is there some overriding statutory guardrails for this sort of a process? And the answer is no.
Okay, and it's not specifically enabled either, but we've seen examples of it being out there.
Yeah, I mean, a handful of the 169 towns have gotten creative in our interpretation of the baseline home rule powers and the general powers that are granted to municipalities under the statute 7-148. So that's really where that authority comes from. But you're right, Russ. I mean, there isn't any express provisions in the statutes that specifically authorize that.
Yeah, Nick, I just want to say this, the statute, the areas that I saw, there was some specificity was on like treasurer and clerk. As elected individuals, there was very specific language about their removal or whatever.
And that's in Connecticut statutes?
Yes.
Okay.
Of course. And like, for instance, the removal required, for instance, in the treasurer, a judge to be involved. So there were, as I said before, and I'll repeat it again, there was some limited sort of guardrails on certain roles.
Town treasurer or state?
Town.
Yeah, so the statutes that apply,
Yeah.
absent charter provisions to the contrary, specifically for the treasurer and the town clerk. I mean, I know these come up all the time in New Canaan, but they come up elsewhere too. I'm not sure exactly why, but the statutory framework really nods back to vestiges of the past, and the legislature has not seen fit to really update those. So it's a lot of all old language that applies there, and how it's, to what extent it's really implemented on the local levels based on what the individual's charters say is another question.
Okay, so the language that, if you have a chance to take a look at that, Nick,
The 1%.
and that was on the recall, and on the removal language, is there other similar language at the Westport or others?
Yeah, so I found in other, so I only dealt with recall.
Yeah.
Because that was John's request.
Okay.
But when I looked at other towns in terms of, let's call it removal.
Yeah.
For malfeasance.
Yeah.
There, I think we talked about it a bit in group 2 at one point. There was very specific terms for cause. So you can't just remove somebody just for cause. Cause was actually very well defined in those charters. So a theft, there was a cause. You can't just be removed for cause. Cause was defined pretty specifically in many of them, in terms of that type of language. Yeah.
So
Well, can I just say, I think we might be separating instead of conflating, maybe is a way to put it, because I mean, we're talking semantics here. For example, I mean, Westport calls its recall, it's the same thing. So Westport calls it recall, and that's effectively what you're doing for an elected official if you're trying to remove them through this sort of a process. But the language goes on to say, okay, any holder of elected office may be removed pursuant to this recall process. So I'm not sure there's a real distinction. What Jennifer, you're describing is really a definition of why, what's the basis that there can even be an eligibility for removal / recall. In the Westport example that I read before, there isn't a for cause determination that has to be made, which I've seen in plenty of other charters too, for removal of appointed positions. In the recall provision, again, going back to the Westport example, it doesn't define for cause, but it says, it lays out these 3 categories: the non-feasance, the misfeasance, and the malfeasance as the justification.
Right. I found a few where there was, I can give you the citations of the towns for cause. Yeah, and the causes were.
Who makes the decision
Yeah.
that you're going to recall? Town council?
No, in this regard, it was a petitioner.
Yeah.
10%.
An elected, someone in
This
town,
example is
a
what
citizen could
this
then
is.
have to go out and gather a petition, get the number of signatures. The signatures must be certified, that person meets a certain level.
That's
Right,
like
and
all of
then-
them, Yeah.
The
But I think, what I would think of, if somebody did something elected, not elected, wrong, they will resign from office.
Well, we have that for appointed?
Well, but even like elected.
Well, we don't have that
We don't-
resigned.
So nothing's there. So the question is, should we even go down this rabbit hole? You know, there's reasons that this wasn't there for maybe a good reason.
Yeah.
Is this something we do want to pursue? Recall, removal, et cetera, for elected? Is that something we want to continue? I want a consensus. I don't want to vote. Is there a consensus here?
No.
No,
What
no.
would
interest?
happen right now without any changes if this were to happen? That's the real question. What would happen? Would a petition go to the Board of Selectmen, the town council? No one.
Nothing would happen. Nothing would happen.
Nothing would happen.
You'd vote 'em
That's
out.
the
So vote 'em
problem.
out.
Well, that's
You vote
my
'em out.
question.
You vote them out, but you also
But then
see
you
public
wait.
pressure
That's right. you wait.
rising and interest, and it becomes
People resign.
untenable for that individual to remain in office. We see that at
We've
the
seen that.
federal level,
Yeah.
for example.
Yeah, it's the court of public opinion is how that works out.
Would you to start a campaign to say that this particular elected official
Yeah.
is not doing their job?
Yep.
And write a letter to the editor. Well, okay, nobody pays attention. Next week, another letter with more facts. And then the third week, oh, maybe a couple of other people now write letters to the editor. And, after a while, then
Yeah.
you start having this and something happens.
Critical mass.
But, you don't have a mechanism.
Okay, so do you think it's worthy?
No,
to-
because I think we'll never get through this.
We'll never get
We
through
will
it.
never
I agree.
write something unless
That's
we
right.
imported whole cloth in from some other town.
Yeah,
And then we'd have to really investigate and make sure that works.
yeah.
I think I would not want to address this, and I think the first selectman is the most important one that this might happen with, and they have a 2-year term. And it probably would take 2 years to get them out for the recall anyway. so.
Right, for sure. Yeah.
That's
Rob,
right.
Generally, anybody want,
Yeah, and the
Is this
state
worth
has,
pursuing,
the state
Rob?
has language for clerk and treasurer.
worth pursuing?
I don't think so.
Okay. Steve, no.
It has abuse potential,
I beg your pardon?
abuse potential.
I'm fine with it as is now.
I'll be fine with it, but I mean,
Yeah.
I can see why you would want to put it in.
I can see why
He
John
brought
brought
it
it
up.
forward.
I agree with
I
that.
think it's a
agree with
good,
I
good
think
call
so.
out.
Yeah, I think so.
That's
Angela?
a
No, I
very good
wouldn't,
point.
I wouldn't
Would
see
want-
this
okay.
further.
No, it's not. worth
Okay.
it.
Let's
It's
move on.
Crazy.
Nick, please take that off your list of things to
Yeah.
do, and this will be coming off. And can we say that Article 2 is done?
Yes.
And I'm going to move that over to the summary pages. Article 3, was there any, well, I still have Nick. Was there one more thing that we had on
Yes.
Article 3?
The
Oh,
Board of Selectmen may fill any appointed position within
Oh, yeah.
180 days.
oh, yeah. Nick, we're on page 16 of version 9 under section C 3-4. And there has been a suggested addition about if the Board of Selectmen fails to fill an appointed position within a certain number of days, that it moves over to the town council. Doesn't say what happens if the town council doesn't do anything, but
They may fill it.
they may
don't have
fill,
to, but
they may
can.
fill such vacancy, right?
No, but I think. they
What is the
should.
question for Nick?
I don't know, there is a question for Nick. It's a question for us.
For us,
And we want to
okay.
do this, there's been discussion about unfilled positions.
Correct.
So if we're asking about what are we trying to address, well, we're trying to address this problem with unfilled positions.
Right.
So if the appointing body, which is the Board of Selectmen,
Right.
doesn't do it within a reasonable amount of time, then somebody else should be able to step in to that position. But that whoever steps in should also be obligated to do something in X number of time. And if they don't do it, then what? And the last time we discussed this, we said, well, maybe it goes back to the individual commissions And they get the chair.
Well, because Nick, I had a question for you. Does it make a difference if we change the language to shall instead of may? Or is it just semantics and nobody cares?
Well.
I think it might make a difference because, I mean, I'm just reading the proposed language with may, and I can see there being, well, not in New Canaan, but there could be a fight. Yeah, right, Russ? I mean, you get to the 180 days and then the town council's like, oh, we got somebody, and the Board of Selectmen's like, no, we do. And
Would you change it to shall?
I would probably support a change to shall, but I don't know that I mean, you're asking me the question, so I'll answer it. I don't know that I would get behind this addition anyhow. I mean, the question I have is, if 3 people can't figure it out, what makes you think 12 can?
All right, Joe Pello first, and then I'll go back to Chris. Go ahead, Joe.
The point why this is in here is the carrot and stick kind of thing, which is, if you're not doing it, then you're going to lose the ability to do it. And it's going to move to another group that you may not want them to have that.
That's exactly right.
So you better do it within the time.
It's a way to prevent the Board of Selectmen from purposely leaving a
Why
vacancy.
wouldn't you put the Board of Selectmen shall, in the event they don't, then the Board of Selectmen, then the
chair of the committee.
The chair of the committee, something like that.
Yeah, chair.
Exactly.
Okay.
No, I don't think that works.
Yeah, can I just make a suggestion here? The work that we're making in terms of proposing an improvement of the appointment process, that the full Board of Selectmen is involved, it doesn't funnel through just one individual. I think that's a step forward to reducing those numbers of vacancies. I just think so. I think so. And I think it's the next step that can address this without putting in this 180 days at all. Okay, Joe and then Jennifer.
Karen made the point I wanted to make, which is we did see at least one case, maybe 2, where the selectmen starved a commission into extinction. And that's really what
Not
we
the
wanna-
board, one. individual.
Yes, select man
Yeah.
starved it. And that was really the intent of trying to prevent that.
Jennifer.
I also think the reason why we're leaning towards this was because of the Ethics Commission. And it really, even though they might get alternates, I agree, but this is where not having something defined left it open to subjectivity, which then created this issue to which they couldn't actually form a quorum. So having at least something defined actually improves the process at that point to then sort of force the issue to act.
Yeah.
Because that is really what we're intending here, is to give them a roadmap to make them do something.
She's right.
Maybe what we could say is, rather than having that, which is a bit draconian, is to say that the Board of Selectmen shall fill any vacancy within 180 days.
Period.
Yes.
Yeah, okay, fine. I'm okay with that.
Well, but what about you don't want to go to the town council?
No.
No, because now you've changed it to an obligation.
Yes, she has to do it.
They have to do it.
Okay.
And if they don't do it, well, then the town council can complain about it, can say, you guys aren't following, and then they can bring it up as a.
Then it should be must fill.
Or must
fill. I
Must.
would be stronger,
Okay,
not.
Shall is the.
Shall is
correct legal.
Hold on a second. Okay, so there's an appointed position, one person raises their hand, says, I want to do this, one person, and it's Kathleen, and she's terrible, okay? We don't want her to go. 180 days pass, we're looking for somebody, now what happens? If they say they shall appoint, I'm the only one, I've raised my hand, I think I've been interviewed.
You gotta call up the Republican Town Committee, Democrat, you gotta help me.
I completely agree with you. You just need the incentive that somebody else can step in and appoint someone on your behalf to get you to do that. But if the town council, if you're in a situation like that, then the town council doesn't have to do it. Like the Board of Ed has this rule, right? If they don't appoint somebody that's to a vacancy, the first selectman can do it. And so that is an incentive to pick their own person.
Yeah, that's for an elected board.
Yeah, it
too.
is elected, but they do have that.
Yeah.
And it just gives them an incentive to either you're going to appoint your own person or somebody else is going to do it.
And
for
I
you.
think it will make thinking about appointments more of a priority with both the first selectman and the board of selectmen if you have something like period of time within which. And you know, you can, as somebody has said, you can go out and get help. You know, there are political town committees, you know, people in town. And I think 180 days
Is a lot.
of time to find somebody
Well,
other than Kathleen.
so- So I disagree on the point of making the town council has to do it.
Just end with the board of
Yeah.
selectmen.
I just, board of selectmen, if not, Bill
No.
Brett gets to a point.
No, first of all, I don't understand. I mean, the person's gonna leave on December 31st, they have to have a replacement. That's the way life works.
Yeah.
180 days is
I
extraordinary,
think so,
generous. I
too.
mean, it's like not doing your job. Get somebody appointed, and by the way, I accept the fact that maybe somebody can't get a person, you gotta find, that's what they, build out a process so you do that.
Yeah,
That's your job.
that's why I think our recommendation about how to improve that
I
process
mean, I can show example, you got,
alleviate
you
this.
got the ethics.
But Bill, there has
The
been
chairman of the
abuse.
audit committee
There
resigned.
has been.
There has been.
How long
abuse.
has that been?
4 months, and nothing's happened.
But there has
So
been
the audit
abuse. So they don't
There's
always do
still,
it.
no, there's a lot happening.
Oh, but there's no appointment.
Yeah, can I make a motion?
Yes.
So I move that we should add the following. If the Board of Selectmen fails, singular, to fill any appointed position within, that the Board of Selectmen shall fill any appointed position with 180 days.
So taking out the word fail.
Yeah,
Board of
Yeah.
Selectmen
Shall.
fill.
shall, and take out the word if. Yeah,
I'll second the motion.
And when we strike the town council,
yes,
And,
yeah,
and I have to run, so I'm gonna vote in favor if that's okay. with
Okay,
my
yeah.
vote.
Yeah.
Okay. And, I'll try, I'll try to get on the phone on Monday with you.
I'll call you just to go through your schedule, just so I know when you're here and when you're not.
I'm just on Monday.
Just
Here.
Monday. Okay.
That's it.
Okay,
Thank
great.
you.
Thank you.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Todd. Appreciate it. Okay, so, have we made a motion? You
Yeah.
did.
yeah.
Did you
So-
second?
I second, I voted in
Okay.
favor.
Yeah,
It's okay,
so Mr.
okay.
Case,
Yes.
Ms. Corbett,
Yes.
Ms. Holm,
Yes.
Ms. Jameson, yes, Mr. Kynes.
Yes.
Mr. Lampert has voted yes, Mr. Labrie,
yes.
Ms. Neville,
Yes.
Mr. Pallo,
Yes.
Mr. Perrette,
Yes.
Ms. Willett.
Yes.
Okay, so the motion passed unanimously.
And we can move Article 3 to our summary. so-
Yay.
Unless, no, I'm sorry. No, we have
No.
We have
still,
the little-
3-5.
Oh.
3-5, what is this new
So
language?
3-5 is to, it was this, it's very vague about what the first selectman can, it's very vague how, if there's a vacancy in an elected position, how that gets filled.
Okay,
So that language in addition, so right now it just says, I'll just read it. If a vacancy shall occur from any cause in any elective office or in any membership of any elective board, commission, or committee, except the town council, the board of selectmen, or the board of education, and that's because they fill their own. Such vacancies shall be filled for the unexpired term at the next succeeding biennial town election or at a special election held on the date of the next regular election, whichever shall occur first. Provided, however, that until such election, such vacancy shall be filled by the Board of Selectmen, period. So it doesn't have any process for how that would be filled. So we added within 30 days, that's debatable how much you want. Of the effective date of such vacancy, the Board of Selectmen by majority vote shall appoint an individual to fill the vacancy. If the individual being replaced is a member of a political party, then the replacement must be a member of the same party. And then I think you guys agreed at the last meeting to strike out that if the individual to be replaced is unaffiliated, the individual shall be replaced by an unaffiliated. So we strike that sentence and that's it.
we're striking that sentence?
Yeah.
Yes, you guys discussed that in the last.
Can I just ask a question here? I mean, is this a bit draconian to insist that the individual must be of the same political party? We're not talking about town council, board of
It
selectmen.
might be a leak.
Or the board of ed. We might be talking about, say, the town clerk. Does it really matter?
It's state statute, I think.
Oh.
Nick, go ahead.
Yes, so
Okay.
I'm not sure it's really necessary because of the minority representation obligations that so I mean, it's sort of like a check, and I'm just trying to think. I mean, I'm not inherently opposed to language like this. I think the unaffiliated sentence creates more problems than not because unaffiliated isn't considered a an official political party under the minority representation requirements. So
No,
we
we
might
took
get
it out.
into some sort of quagmire with that. But I'm trying to think out in my head a scenario under which a one-to-one replacement still might create an issue with minority representation if I mean if someone changes parties while they're on an active board and there's enough like unaffiliateds, for example, that it doesn't skew the minority representation limitations, then you could have someone sort of switching parties within a board, and then this language would obligate to follow however that party switched. It's not like, okay, we have the minority representation requirements, we're going to have uh, whatever, 2 of one party and 3 of another, and then a few unaffiliateds, and that's just how it's going to track forever with this sort of language. I just don't think it's that easy.
But this is really just for elected, and I think it only applies to individuals the way that, because Board of Ed does their own, town council does their own, so it's really the clerk, town clerk, the treasurer, constables, yeah.
Constable, registrar of voters.
Okay, that's a fair point.
And is it a state statute that if an elected official who's a Republican leaves, then it has to be appointed a Republican?
Yes.
Yes.
So
Yeah, so I think that's.
I guess it's,
I don't know that the language is necessary. I
yeah,
mean, I
if it's
think
a state statute already.
I think you just have to follow what the state statutes provide for. Is that fair, Nick, or?
I agree. I think we're covered by the state statute.
Do
So
have
we
to
can
add this-
take all this out?
Do we have to add this 30-day business?
I don't think we need anything in the
We
red.
don't need anything in the
Do
red.
they have
on.
to appoint somebody or they could just wait for the election? I think I know the answer to that.
I think that in the Board of Ed, there is a state statute that they have to appoint within 30 days if
Right.
somebody resigns. But that's a state regulated board and not a town board.
But you have to have a town clerk. So the town clerk resigned
Right.
unexpectedly. You would expect that actually the Board of Selectmen would move pretty quickly to fill that slot.
And I would assume, mechanics wise, assuming there is a deputy in the role, they're gonna go interim until such point as they pick somebody.
Yeah.
So,
I don't mind having the 30-day. It's consistent with what we're gonna, when we talk about Board of Ed, it'll be.
But we have to have that with Board of Ed. We didn't really ever discuss whether 30 days was the right number
Yeah,
or
it
not
was the number
because
of the
we
state
had no
statute.
choice.
Yeah.
But why not leave it at 30 days? I mean,
I don't think we need the language at all.
Yeah, if-
I don't know.
We don't need the language at
If
all.
it's state statute, then we probably don't need it.
I would,
Unless, the only thing it would be to have the time limit in there, because they could just not do it at all.
Well, no, they
Yeah,
could
I'm not
just
aware
leave
of a
the
30-day, like,
person.
I'm not aware of an analogous statute to the Board of Ed
Or the
statute
Board of Ed.
that would
It's
apply
the
to the
same.
town.
This is not like catching up by a certain time. This is the power to fill the vacancies. This is not, you must do it by a certain time. It's the power to fill the vacancies. That's what this section is about.
Yeah.
That's it.
I would take it out, the redlined text, additional text.
All it does
All
is
right,
it
so move
describes
things
the
along.
power.
Yeah,
Make a
so we just leave it at
Motion that we strike the
red on.
proposed-
Just
the proposed insertion in 3-5.
And on.
All those in favor, just say.
Yeah.
aye. We don't have to go into it.
Aye.
Okay.
there we go.
Okay.
All right.
Any opposed?
Now we did three.
No, any
Now we can-
opposed?
Now we can even do 4.
No, it's fine.
Board's done.
6:30.
Oh, that's
Four we
right.
That's it, but we
reviewed
got-
already. Yeah, it
All
is
right.
6:30 and.
Next time.
So, ladies and gentlemen, so we will adjourn, but I will say, our next meeting is on, Monday, and just to confirm the time here. I just raised again, who will be here on Monday? Who won't be here on Monday, I guess? One,
just a second.
two,
What date is
three.
that?
Okay. And
And
Todd. So that's 4. It's,
4 o'clock.
20.
yeah, it's, okay, it's
Yeah, I
the
think I
20th at 4
I
o'clock.
think I can come in on Monday and maybe, I think I have it backwards. Monday, yes, by Zoom or something, and then
Okay.
Tuesday, probably not.
Okay,
But maybe telephone Zoom.
Okay.
No, I'm not here on Monday. I'm in my house.
okay, so do we have, I need to know if we have a quorum on Monday. So
Monday I can be, Monday I can be
you
on.
can be there, so.
Yeah.
I can't be
I
on.
can
and I
likely
can't
come
be
online,
here.
but who knows?
Online, okay, so we need six. We need six.
Seven.
Okay.
I'm here Monday.
I'm there Monday.
Okay, good. Okay, great. So we have a quorum on Monday. That's great. If you're not going to be here, if you'd be kind enough to send us your comments on the draft, I'll be sending out version 10 tonight. So take a look at that.
You'll tell us when you're gonna cover on Monday.
Yeah, what are we covering?
And Monday, yes, because I have to get the agenda out. I'm not going to make that mistake twice. The agenda is going to basically be the exact same one that we have already out there, which is minutes, master commission draft report, and it says possible vote within each article. That's all.
So we're gonna start.
So which article?
Let's move on.
Oh, I beg your pardon?
We'll start at 4
Four
and
is
move on.
done, right?
Four.
Yeah, essentially it's done, yeah.
But okay, so let me just, so the
Pass it.
question is, are there, so ZBA, what was the other one that, inland wetlands? Is that what you guys were talking about for inland wetlands?
We haven't talked about that at all.
Elected,
Yeah.
okay.
Should we do the ZBA article?
Do you, are any of these being asked about elected versus appointed? That's
There's
my-
nothing in ZBA that we got that they wanted changed, except we only altered it from 2 to 3.
Yeah.
That was it.
Okay,
I thought there was a vote, and then the other one.
And ZBA
And
was a
we, and
vote.
we talked about, Tiger Man's talk.
we have not talked about, he just submitted
Sounds to
something.
me, we're talking about, that's a big subject.
It is,
Public
yeah.
Works,
Yeah, public work, thank you.
are we considering a commission?
So why don't we adjourn, and we'll meet again. Okay, so can I have a motion to?
I move the
Yes.
gentleman.
Okay,
Second.
all right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Okay,
sorry.
meeting is
Did we
adjourned.
have
Okay, I have a question.
Wait.
Could you?
Wait.